Rookie start tonight, my friend.
I know.
Oh,
Don't get many of those anymore with this professional setup.
hey, we're
it's
here.
Thursday. You're hanging out. It's Adam and Ryan on Double Drop Down, hanging out with the Hangout.
Yeah, cheers to you all.
Cheers.
Thanks for hanging out with us
Cheers.
tonight. We got our, what are these things?
Well, yeah. What did you make me?
I made an old fashioned.
Old fashioned.
Which it was funny for a while. I was using a very expensive mix for it. It was like $20 for this little tiny bottle.
Did you have to
that
use a
gave some
lot of
stuff.
it per drink?
You would. And
Ah.
I mean, it was not many drinks you'd get out of
Right.
it. And then I went to go buy another one and I was like, do I want to spend it? And then I
Yeah.
found this humongous bottle that was like $5 and it was like
Whatever.
10 of those.
Fine.
And it wasn't the exact same thing. So I have to add a
Sure.
little sugar and a little stuff, but I don't know, it ended up being
Better.
pretty good.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
and I've been really kind of a snob now when I go and try old fashions because I make mine really strong and you got that little whiskey hit to it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have that, so
Yeah.
I've not been happy about it.
And what are you a snob about? Like what are other things? Like where you're like snobby about something?
That's a good question. There's like little nuanced things.
Sure.
I think the consistency of a French fry.
All right.
If it doesn't have just the right amount of crisp to it,
right.
I'm just like you've messed up my entire meal.
Well, and then it feels just like a waste of calories at that point. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm still gonna eat these stupid French fries because I'm hungry, but like I'm still gonna get the same amount of calories, but it's not gonna be nearly as enjoyable as it could
no,
be.
I mean my water. I'm definitely a water snob.
like a soda water snob.
soda water.
Like,
What about
it has
you?
To be brand. It has to be brand name. Like I am. Just I guess for myself, I like the only clothes that I purchase myself are like light jacket type things, which I wear all the time because I'm always cold. And so like I have a ton of sort of medium range light jackets that I will spend money on to purchase just because I'm like, hey, they go on the outside. Who cares what you have on underneath? You just have this like cool light jacket. And I would also say I've started to become a snob on like video games, because I can just download as many as that I want on Game Pass.
Sure.
Where if I download a game and I'm like, if I'm not having fun in the first like sort of half hour, I'm just like, I'm out of this game and on to the next one.
How many years have the people put their life into that? And
I
just
know
like,
exactly. And I'm
you
just
have
like, nope.
2 seconds.
We should think about that for our
Oh,
game.
I know. That's the other thing. I think I got in the scroll, the doom scroll on YouTube lately too. And so I guess getting that right hook in that first couple minutes, I wouldn't say this is a snob thing, but it's really hard for me to stay on a video. If it says stay till the end, I'm absolute swiping, right? Immediate swipe. You say stay to the end,
You're like, you don't tell me what to do, video.
No.
That means the first half of your video is boring, so swipe, apparently.
The worst is when you get to one of those, and what burned me and got me to that mode is there's somebody like, wait to the end, and then they cliffhang. Yeah, hey.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was bad. I was like, oh, you burned me.
How do you do cliffhanger YouTube shorts? That's what you're watching,
Yeah.
right? Because isn't it just going to a different creator for the next
100
one?
Yeah.
So then
they burn you, and then you're like, then it makes you go to their channel, makes you look for their thing, and you're like,
sure.
oh, it's
Yeah,
for me to get to
exactly.
this end when
That's what every single one of our YouTube shorts needs to be.
Oh,
is just a
God, no.
cliffhanger. Every 15-second cliffhangers.
And you know what I would say some of the sites have done is that they have the video and then they play the first 2 seconds on loop, and it's always something that's like, oh, I want to see that. What are they about to do? You're like, somebody's
right.
like right about to fall, then it's like back
Yeah.
to them not falling, and I was like, you got the algorithm so tuned in.
Well,
I am done.
It's not even algorithm. It's like people's attention. It's like we've narrowed down what is the main concentrated goo of attention, and you're just just like, yeah, show that over and over again. People cutting through things very smoothly or whatever, you know, like all of those very just hits the back of your id brain attention grabbers. Everyone's just like, put that on a 1 second loop and then show them my video. It's terrible.
And you know what's even worse lately is that it's not even just one. Sometimes they'll have two things on, two separate videos, or hey, some person talking and then another like,
and then a Minecraft level,
yeah,
a Minecraft level happening behind them.
Oh, I hate it.
And the words written on the screen, all over the screen.
So, and it just feels like you have like 3 things going on, 5 things going
it's
on.
Just, it's the end product of multitasking, right? Where you're just like, I can't even be watching the video, which you're obviously not watching the video and only staring at a video. Likely you're doing something else and you're doing the dishes, but even that video is not engaging enough unless it has 3 things going on inside of it.
It's bad. I've been purposefully like getting myself out of it. So here's some of my habits.
I have tried not to get into the vertical video craze for this exact reason.
It's addicting,
yeah.
And there's some tactics, at least for me, because it sometimes it comes down to like a partial second. And so one of the things is I'll sit down on the phone, and now that I don't just do Reddit, like I don't like if a Reddit article pops up because I'm looking for something, I'll use it.
Sure.
But I do not
scrolling Reddit.
Do not scroll Reddit. I don't have it. It just has to organically pop. But I have like 3 sites that I hit that are outside of it. 4 if you want to do actually.
What are any of them not just text based?
Yeah, they're like almost like a Reddit clone, if you will. So I got Blue Sky. Okay, let me do it in the order.
I thought Blue Sky was more like a Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Which is different than Reddit for sure.
It has some similarities, and you
there's
have
a scroll.
You have a scroll to it. There's another one. There's Mastodon. Those are the 2 that are the least used. I still use Tildes. I use Slashdot, which has had some issues this week, which we could talk about. Slashdot's really good. That's where I get some of my insights on AI news.
Right.
Lemmy is still like my top.
Huh.
So I do so I go between them, and why I love it is they have ends. They get to an end point,
true.
And then I'm able
Reddit
to tune it in, and I say, last 24 hours, this level of popularity within what I follow, and you get to an end, and I'm like, okay, I got it all. Great.
That was it. That was what I needed for today.
But then I put YouTube on there, and then I would click it, and then I would get stuck. And then I was like, okay, here's how so I just took the shortcut off and nested it like in a folder.
That's what I do with
over
Reddit.
to the side.
That's what I do with Reddit.
Oh God, that helped.
I put it. Yeah, totally. It does. I definitely do not go to Reddit first.
Yeah.
I will be like, I'll read a little bit of the New York Times. I will do like a little bit of just the Google news feed, but that has an end. And then I will typically read. But if I really get bored, or if there's some kind of like new cool thing happening, like CES this week or last week, and so we have some awesome news articles here. I haven't looked at the ones that you added.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
there's like half a dozen here that are fun.
And I think that's what happens in these 2 weeks. We always talk about that, and so the reason we're talking about a lot of this is because I have been scrolling or looking at a few things that piqued my attention. I want to talk to Ryan about this.
Totally.
Well,
CES happened this in the last 2 weeks that we did. OpenAI and a bunch of AGI stuff happened in those last 2 weeks. Like NVIDIA released a whole bunch of things, and there was just it was like the new year, new fun, cool, creative, and tech stories.
New stuff. Yeah, and so I think we'll talk about CES as like a final part of it, because we got some quick hits on a bunch of articles that we could talk about. And we used to just show the articles on the stream, but it was nothing cool to look at, and there's all these ads popping up. So what we can do is we can chuck links or something in the chat if we ever really,
if you want to check it out,
really want to look at it. Some of them though irritate me because then it goes to the paywalls, so then I have to go around them to go figure out other details around it. But let's you know what I could start to do? I still need to update the website and get us caught up to where we're at.
How much are we uncaught up, Adam?
Man, it's probably a half a year's worth of it. I was getting into it, had total intentions to do it over the holidays, and then I didn't. You know what? I want to be a little free with the talk tonight, just for a bit, because I was going to mention one thing I did over the holiday break is I played some Cyberpunk. So you've watched those. I've taken a little break because I got back into work and I had to, I wanted to get in the game too. So I started doing the game a lot and just like reacclimating and getting my damn motivations up. But one thing I wanted to do over the break, and this goes back to freaking the stupid shorts, is there's this guy that does like Halo videos. And he does Halo videos that are crazy. You get I want to get over to that thing that's like in the sky, and you're like, how would you possibly do that? And then he shows how you do it, and you're like, oh my god,
Halo CE, like Halo.
Oh no, all of them.
Oh, okay,
like amazing, like things that I didn't realize you could still do with the other Halos. Anyway, so what happens when you watch a Halo video or two?
You get a bunch of Halo content.
You just constantly get in your scrolls. Yeah. So then I finally was like, I kind of want to play some Halo. And then I was on and streaming Cyberpunk, and I was like, nobody wants me to play Halo. So in my room, hanging out on the bed, and I was like, I'm going to beat Halo on Legendary, on Infinite. Because that's the only one I have not finalized and beat it on Infinite. I am literally to the last boss now.
Wow. Man.
On that. And so I beat it.
And you beat it. Nice.
Yeah, the super jumps, for sure. No, so I have not beat Legendary. I am at literally the last level, and it was. I
can't even remember what that is.
Super sweaty, kind of.
It's the like elite that's like shoot.
It's so you go through a couple bosses. Halo Infinite had a bunch of bosses.
Yeah.
But you get to this point where there's this. There's a main boss, and then there's a whole bunch of other things that they're throwing at you.
Yeah.
And so it gets. I don't know if you remember Infinite too much, but
apparently not.
Because you'd have the specials, you have the grapple.
Oh yeah, totally.
But then you'd have to throw the shield down, and then there was like you could see where enemies are coming.
I was thinking more about the story. I was like, what do I remember of Halo Infinite's story?
It's it's slipping my mind right now.
You just played through it.
No, the name of the main Harbinger.
Yeah.
And so the Harbinger is in there, and by this point, Harbinger's the last boss, and you've had to fight these other bosses up until that point.
Mostly like brutes and stuff.
There was brute. There was all kinds of different bosses. There was like bosses in the open world, and then bosses that were story level. But if you don't mind, I'm gonna just tell you two quick things about it. But there was one where. There was this boss that turns invisible and he like slashes you with a sword.
Yes. Okay.
And he was in a small
circular room.
Case. It was like, no, it wasn't even.
That one is a B.
They were not even circular. It was like a tiny, like you can go up and down
but then you're like in the middle, right? And you have to sort of like jump up onto the little edge in the middle. I don't know. I do remember an invisible boss.
He like hunts you. He's one of the killers. And so I finally was like, I cannot spend time on this. So I saved the game, walked out.
That's what usually I end up telling myself when I get frustrated with the game is to go like, this is stupid and I don't have time for this. I'm turning this off.
So I was like, if it resets, whatever, I'm done. Right. I actually felt like I got really good at it. Just like playing this time around, I was really decent. So then I got back in and it was right before that boss started again. And I was like, damn it, how am I going to fight this thing? I've already spent like hours on it. Then I found all these like power coil things. And I was like, I think he spawns right here. So I went and found all these power coils and chucked it where I thought he spawns. And then started the thing and then like rocketed one of those things. And he instantly melted him and he died. I was like, hell yeah. It's not, I don't know if that's a cheat, but.
How could you not have said Xbox record that?
Yeah, I know. I did actually. It was quite hilarious. And then, so anyways, long story short, I get to this other part where there's two hunters later down in the thing. Like hunters are decent, but they're not bosses, so to speak. Yeah. But I go in this door and they just like melt you instantly. And I was like, how am I going to possibly survive against these two things for a long time? Finally got past that part. Now I'm to like the part that I'm dreading. So anyway, long story short, I played a lot of Halo and it was fun. It was a good time.
Halo Infinite, still fun. Still, the kids are still playing it. We got friends of ours who play it still.
Are you playing you're playing the online multiplayer, right?
I haven't played it in forever,
okay.
but do you think your skills are going to transfer over to the online multiplayer? Would you go back to that?
I just don't want to get into that mode. So I would say that my skills in Legendary are like base level if you go into multiplayer, because
Sure.
multiplayer they're like really really hardcore.
Right. Well, there's a difference between playing against humans, right?
But I felt like I got like way better. I can play like
Totally.
I think
Hey,
that I
yeah.
love to play legendary is the only kind of way I like to play Halo anymore.
Right.
Because it feels fun. I don't know. It's a good time.
You can tell. I mean, they're good at tuning that stuff in, right?
They nailed it. All right, you want to get on the show? Thanks for letting me go off script there a little bit. It was
good.
fun.
Games you've been playing. That's good.
Yeah. Creative interruptions, and what a good segue, because we just talked about shorts, right?
Yeah.
And so I read this article, and let me go and see where this was on. So this was, I don't know what Simone is. Simone.org. So I was looking at this particular thing, and I think I actually searched this one out. So I'll throw a few of these links in the chat if you're interested. So what this one talks about is the attention wars. And so like why creative time is now contraband is what they're saying. And the idea that I was looking for, and I don't know why this got into my vision, is they were saying it's hard to get into creative time. And I was at the point where I was playing Halo, I was looking at shorts, and I was like, I need to get back to the game. How do I get into it, right?
Right.
And this article came up, and what it starts to talk about, and I took some notes, I did some summarization here, is that we're in what they call the ping culture or the fragment culture. So like we were just saying before, here's a little snippet, distract, and all you get is these distractions. And those little, and they were basically saying they're usually unusable chunks.
Right.
It's not like you had a bunch of shorts on how to build something or do something,
It's
and then
like
you go turn it around.
skateboarders falling on their face or some little part of a movie.
And so it's built to fracture our attention and then
Yeah.
suck it up. And then what happens at the end of it, you're like, oh man, 2 hours just went by, drained your energy, and then you don't have a lot of energy to go and do something creative or go get involved in something else. And they were making the thought of like,
Isn't that the same thing as TV though?
I think it's everything. Absolutely. It's this one though, they said it's even more mindless, because let's say you watch an hour long or a 2 hour long show. There's like a consistent story arc. There's some like things you can kind of get engaged in.
I guess, right? It's almost like when people tell you like pizza, that's like a normal help. It's got bread, it's got cheese, it's got vegetables. It's like now you're saying you're like at least TV has a 3-act structure, and you have to follow characters throughout an entire season, not 3 seconds of video.
But think about that. Like you just
Yeah.
strung together a bunch of like disparate stories, or, my favorite one is sometimes it just like, I'll have looked something else up on my phone. So it's like, oh, you apparently want to go and watch this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And then it gives me clips of that movie. And then like, an hour later, I was like, I kind of feel like I just watched that whole movie and a whole bunch of just random clips of it. I get a vibe of where it's at. But they're basically saying it's a rebellion to jump back into that creative space, to get away from the things that are drawing your attention away. If you can like step away, put the things down, and go spend some dedicated time or something.
To me, I don't know if it's just I feel like we're going to go through a huge sociological experiment with everyone, right? But like I can't tell if it's because I feel like I can do that. Like I don't feel like I spend all that much time like doing mindless things or scrolling, doom scrolling. Like it's some, but it's not a ton of time. But then you hear about like the youth like use of TikTok is like 6 hours a day or something like that, and you're like, holy crap. Like is that something that's just because we didn't grow up with it, it's like easier to sort of recognize it now as an adult and be like, no, I don't want that? And whereas children are going to have like grown up with that entire time. So either like society has to meet them where they are at, which is they're going to have a very broken and very disfractured like attention span for everything, and that's we're going to have to sort of build society around that. Oof. Or do you try to bring that back in some way? I mean, I feel like no company who is doing any of these platforms has any incentive to pull it back at all.
Oh God,
so like they're not going to if the monetary like incentives aren't there. So then they're not And so then the society needs to go forward. I always say that about movies. I was like, movies are these 3-act structures that last 2.5 hours, and you're going to lose so many kids who grow up with that kind of like, I want to see something different every 5 seconds. That like, they're not going to sit there for a 2.5 hour movie, like, and watch things. Like, I feel like at some point the movie thing, and maybe it's already happening, it's just going to drop off. It's going to be people who are 40 and older who watch movies.
I mean, it's definitely a change. In the experience at the movies in general is tough. Like if you go to theaters, so I mean, in your house, you're still like on your phone doing other things.
Exactly, right? The whole time. Like we will watch Avatar and be like, it takes us 3 sittings to sit through an Avatar movie because they're 3 hours long. And you're like, we can only sit here for an hour before everyone's antsy and moving around. So it'll take 3 nights.
Well, and I think that the wrap on this one is that the author of this, they're saying it's rebellion to be creative in those moments that you take, like those handcrafted, you do something genuine with your time are important, and they're becoming more important. And so if you can go and create something yourself and you put some sort of artistic endeavor into it, that's important. So that's why I think I talked about it.
I'll
so,
cheers to that.
Hell yeah to creativity. Get your ass off those.
Yeah, get your ass off the couch. Do something. I hope you're like knitting while you're watching this.
Yeah, or something creative. keep humanity alive. That's what I say. So all right. So next up on the list. Okay, so this one was just more of a story. So we won't necessarily need to do it. So are you familiar with what triple gangers is?
No.
So you should know because what's your degree in, Ryan?
Oh man, this is a thing that I should know about.
Yeah, well, just like what's your degree? Your undergrad in?
Undergrad is computer animation, computer art. I guess was more generic at that point. Computer art.
So triple gangers. When I first heard it, I'm like, what kind of nasty porn site is this? Right? So apparently, it is the largest like 3D model site on the web. Okay. And they've like been catering all of these crazy models over time of all kinds of different things.
Cool.
And so it's this massive site that has amazing files and you buy them.
Yeah.
And here's where the thing gets a little crazy is that they got DDoS attacks. So it's like you basically got shut down. But guess how that happened? It wasn't people doing it. ChatGPT was trying to comb and get all the stuff off their site. Oh, and so it kept hitting all these requests on it, and they had misconfigured this opt-out file, which doesn't necessarily mean it would 100% opt things out, but it was OpenAI. They found all these APIs, and it was like scraping their site, learning off of like this massive amount of stuff that they had, and
of course.
So. It took them down for a couple of days. That was their entire business operation. Wow. And so they were, and then so here's the other sucky part of that is that not only did it scrape the site, shut them down for some days, but then they had to pay for the bandwidth of people hitting their site and doing all the stuff to do that. So we're in this like...
But they probably got a bunch of sweet advertising for it. But I guess it's true if you're saying most people knew about it anyway.
Well, they knew it was a big one. But it took their site down. Now ChatGPT or OpenAI has all the data off of their site. And so it was just like... That thing is a scourge in a certain ways it's like taking things down and just... outright stealing in a way.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you want to transition to the OpenAI story at this point, but like that was, I mean, we talked about this when we went into January with like our New Year podcast was last time. And in that show, we were talking about like what happened last year. And we were like, oh, they talked about, AGI might be happening. And really, I don't know if I would even call that one a good hit from last time, because at the end of last year, a lot of that stuff was saying that they were plateauing, that they were like, we've uploaded all the data that we can. Like we're going to scrape little edges. And this is where you get to stuff like that, 3D sites of whatever to sort of figure out things. But they're like, it's basically all hoovered up. And so they thought, well, it's kind of leveling out. And then just in this last like couple months, and maybe it's marketing, but like OpenAI and a bunch of other people who are sort of like tangentially, in that kind of space have been like, oh man, we figured out how to make AGI. Basically, like that's what Sam Altman has been saying in the last couple of weeks. That's what like a bunch of these insider people is sort of like, they kind of have figured out that there's a way to make that without necessarily just adding more data to it, right? And so there's a bunch of ways where it's going back and it's thinking about itself. Like you saw the OpenAI thing where it costs like $200 a month or whatever that is, right? And that's just because like it uses so much compute. They're like losing money on that still. And it just like uses so much compute because it's like checking its answers and doing all this stuff and pinging other things and grabbing other stuff that they basically think that it's like that is the way towards AGI. And they changed, so OpenAI is like almost majority owned by Microsoft, right? Like that's the whole thing. And Microsoft and OpenAI were like, we only have a contract until we hit AGI. And at that point, when we've made that, that's when sort of your thing of owning the copy or whatever to it is like we split. And Microsoft is kind of like, hey, it seems like you're getting close to AGI, but how are we even going to tell what that even is? And so they changed it and they said, oh, it's some monetary value that they're hitting. If the company hits $700 billion or something like that, then that's when they will say that they've done enough or they've done a popular enough thing that they can then break from the Microsoft contract. And so that's getting everyone all riled up. They're like, Microsoft is thinking that. They're like breaking it out because it's coming. And people are like, oh my God, they're going to hit artificial general intelligence in 2025 and artificial super intelligence in 2026. And I'm like, I thought we were plateauing out so that everyone could sort of figure this shit out for a little bit. And that does not seem to be the case.
They're hyping you.
Oh, man. And that could be true too, right? Like it could totally be hype. It could be marketing hype.
Time will tell at this point. It seems. I mean, it seems like it's something that is absolutely happening out there. I mean, there is some new things in which maybe that's another piece of it. So this next story we have, I thought just was kind of interesting in maybe not the story itself, but the implications of what it's doing. So have you heard about AI sermons?
No, I haven't. No, I saw this title in the Trello, but did not click on it because I was interested.
So, all right. I don't want to get down to the religious rabbit hole that we could get into. Oh my God, we could. So, and actually, I kind of had some Fallout vibes and some other kind of things in this.
Absolutely.
But what's happened is there's some religious leaders out there right now. There's this Houston rabbi. He's actually known as the Rabbi Bot.
What's up, Stealth?
Hey, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, we watched a show called what was that called? Is it Disconnected? I think it's called Disconnected on Amazon, where they had Bruce Campbell like pretend he's in the future and AI has taken over the world, and he somehow was able to go to the past and like interview people before everything went bad.
Discontinued. Nice.
But discontinued. That's what it was. So then going back to this religious leader here is they just said, hey, why don't we start training it on all these old sermons that we keep recycling out there, and let's use it and create the rabbi bot. So when people want to talk to him or whatever,
100%.
You could do that. And it's, first of all, just my thought as I was reading that, I was like, are you freaking serious right now?
To me, it seems absolutely. It's like, of course you would.
Oh, right? I mean, of course you would, but like,
why? What is so human is like the God part of it, like the religious part of it. Like it needs to be more human for it to feel right.
No,
for you.
No, not at all. I think about it more than a future sense. So like, imagine Rabbi Bot. That guy
sounds like a future. It sounds like a Futurama episode.
And it is thing. And so think about the future of it. Is that now there isn't any such thing as a human rabbi. Because you've already trained this rabbi bot, so everyone's now worshiping some AI version of what religion is.
Right.
And now people have started to follow the new AI religion because, hey, we basically took all the Bibles and all the different books, the Quran or whatever, and we put them into there, and now you have this new religion.
Yeah.
and then AI becomes a god.
Yeah. Well, and you can see it happening because, like, a computer, right? When
Yeah.
they're thinking about things, they have like these very long timelines, right? And they have very subtle ways. And they would be like, here's how humans work. We're not going to spring a whole thing on them right at first. We're going to like subtly change it throughout the entire time. And after decades, at some point, they will just be worshiping, this almighty tech god.
And not only worshiping it, like I'm more even feared like how they protect it and how it becomes a thing, and then there's versions of like no,
right, and we were gonna be like, we have to shut it down. It's gonna kill everything. If you're like, absolutely not, my deity. No way, you're shutting that thing down.
It's an absolute god. Rabbi Bot 2.17, it was so crazy.
Exactly.
Is that true God? And then the other thing I thought is like, number one, it like uses the propaganda thing.
Yeah.
Religious people believe in the unseen as well, and there's
Right.
this, so it's like it's a natural fit. There's the concept, and this is part of what the article is saying, is like, what happens as it starts to hallucinate details and relearn on those details, and so it gets twisted by down the line, and things are happening.
Man.
So just the implications of it is what I wanted to bring that up. So Rabbi Bot is the start of the downfall. Well, it's probably already started.
I hope it's like a fun Futurama future, with little robots and fun things and tubes sucking us around and spaceships and flying to planets, but I don't think it's going to.
I don't think so. It just feels like it's not. All right.
Like the further we get into it, the more it feels like it's not going to be like
I remember the first days we were already going down this. We were like projecting, and it was always that way. Now I'm just like committed to us being in a bad space.
Like there are. So I was listening to a podcast called Hard Fork, and they're from the New York Times, and they were talking about going to places where they had people who are super into like the idea of like the singularity, and that we're definitely coming up on artificial super intelligence. And they were talking to some people, and they were like, I cashed out my 401k. I'm not even putting anything into retirement, because what is money going to be in 3 years? And you're like, well, is that going to be the case? I hope not. But man, that seems like a scary way to fall into that.
The thing that I hate right now, if I could just go off on a tangent, is that we've capitalized this and we haven't used it to just like drive a better living for humans,
because you have to get past capitalism to do that, because everyone is just going to be you can't get to the Star Trek universe, right, where everyone's just like, we just work for the prestige and for the empowerment and betterment of mankind, until like you get through you got to like wash the capitalism out of everyone's system for a few generations, I feel like. And hopefully we could just get past that a little bit, because man, there are going to be people who are going to hold on to capitalism with a clenched fist.
Well, in capitalism, in a couple of lenses. Number one, like there's a limit. Like once you get a certain amount of like money, you get like, what more do you need, right? You get food, you get shelter, you get all these other great things. Now, the thing that makes that great is other people don't have those things.
Sure.
So you're like, I'm so rich, I could do this, and that person can't, because if everyone's going to amazing things, or everyone's on the beach all the time, then nobody else is working and doing other things, and everything's crowded and everything sucks.
Because imagine if you had to spend $1 million on an iPhone.
Yeah.
Right? Only the very rare people would have an iPhone, right? And they would be like, oh my God, I have this thing and it can communicate with everyone and it's so amazing. But it's not. It's like everyone, the president has the same iPhone as the freaking middle schooler, right? Because like there is no extra special iPhone there. But that's just how human beings want to be, right?
And so if we can get past some of that's one big piece of it. And I don't know. It feels like it's just going to be really hard to get there. And other people like the power, the control, all these other things. So you can't just get past capitalism, and something else is going to happen.
It sucks because it's going to take us and our kids like to power through it until we either go to the apocalypse or become the utopia.
Or the singularity happens, and
exactly.
we're truly on that. I feel like we're on that path. That's my thing for the future. Okay, next up, sheep farmer. Sheep farmers.
Next up, sheep farmers.
All right, this is a good one. So it's a little throwback, and reason why it was worth the discussion. It was
why is this worth the discussion? You're gonna have to really pitch it to me.
So there's a sheep farmer that actually made some predictions on AI dominance. And so it was in like it was 100 and some years ago. It was like so far ago that it was an anniversary of like 100 years. Maybe it was even more than that. And so it was like 1864. I believe it was, or something.
Like 150 years, something.
Yeah. So his name's Samuel Butler.
Okay.
And so he talked about machines, and this was like at the technical revolution when things started coming in. So he didn't have like AI thoughts, but he was very anti-machine, and he was like, machines are becoming very much like Darwinian evolution. And he was talking about how they're growing into these things that are going to eventually, they're our pets now, but we're going to become their pets in the future. And if you even think about it, like AI is like, we're like stuck in these loops 6 hours a day on TikTok. Like we are kind of slaves to these things. And so he was saying they're going to one day become conscious. And so this is all Terminator vibes and things like that. And then basically outcompete humanity.
He should have read a sci-fi book.
I think Asimov or somebody else at the time took some of these concepts and did write a sci-fi.
Wow, cool.
But he had some key themes that it would be able to replicate itself, that we would become super dependent on this to the point that like we would be so dependent we don't know how to live without it.
Right.
And then that they would have some potential to start to have some sort of sentience and be able to overtake its creators.
Did you see? Well, maybe you didn't see the Reddit thread of the kid who said him and his 11-year-old sister share a ChatGPT account, and he can look through and see what types of things she was looking up.
Yeah.
And she was just like doing every single assignment, every single question, and every single assignment, just going it through ChatGPT.
Oh, gosh.
And like adding even just simple things of adding things together and coming up with stuff. She's just doing it all through ChatGPT, and then being like, no, too long. Can you put it into like more like a rough sentence about this? And then copying and pasting that into there. I was like, yikes. Oh man. Hopefully that is not a generation away.
No, and it's and it's interesting you say that, because I do use ChatGPT a lot, but the way I use it is like I don't feel like it gives me the answer, but I almost use it as, like we've always discussed, as an assistant, a second pair of eyes, something that just comes in and allows me to.
The thing that I use it for, and what I always feel bad about, is I'm on a new project, right? Or I'm on a new thing, and the part of me that goes, you're supposed to be the creative person, and the very first thing that you think about is going to ChatGPT and writing in a bunch of crap and having it give you options for the things you're doing. Like, what are you doing, Ryan? And then I do it anyway. But like when I do it, I always go like, it gives me a little bit of stuff, and mostly it is like garbage, right? Like 90% of it is still not that great. And then one part of it sparks the thing in my mind and goes, oh, great. Like, thank you for doing that. And then I just go off and do a bunch of things. And in the end, it looks way different than the thing that it had suggested. Sure. So I never feel too bad, like as it having like a brainstorming partner.
It's so great. So you're talking like creative visual design sometimes, or whatever.
No,
it might be,
this is more like ideation on projects, right? Like say I'm on a studio team, right? And the studio team gets projects that say, help visualize this AI feature that we're going to, put out next year, and do it in some kind of animated GIF animation. And I go like, how would I do that? And part of me goes like, I should be just sitting here thinking about how that would work. And instead I put it into ChatGPT and it goes, here's 10 ways you could visualize that. And I go, 9.5 of those are terrible, but this one was a good little spark, and that got me going.
I think that's what we're saying though.
Yeah.
So I remember, and then I'll be honest, is that sometimes from a visual perspective, I needed like that spark you talked about.
Yeah.
I would go hit like Google Images and be like, hey, here is this thing I'm looking at before the AI revolution kind of things happened. And then,
or like Getty or something.
Any kind of like image site.
Yeah.
And then I would be like, it like what was in my mind's eye, you visualized to a certain point. And I'm like, you didn't get it, but you got me to like now go on the path. You opened the door for it. Mm-hmm. The other side of it too is, that's why we've done some of this. Like, that's why we're at this point in humanity, is that other people have spent the brain power to do that, so why are we going to expend some of our own brain power sometimes to recreate an idea that is already had?
Yeah.
So can't we just like, that's how we're going to move forward is, okay, let's stand on the shoulders of giants and look at things that have happened in the past.
And that's why I hope it stays right here, because if it stays right here and the only thing the AI can give you is sort of a generalization of basically what the amalgamation of all humanity would say for this answer, then you're like, great, that's easy, because give me the general thing and I'll make it kick ass, right? And I'll make it cool for this context, right? Like I'll take it to that next level. And then you just always hope, you're like, oh man, when it gets to AGI, then it's going to be coming up with those cooler ideas. And you'd be like, it not only came up with the beginning part of it, but it also came up with the cooler thing that I would have ever come up with. And then you're like, no, that's where it's going to take you out.
The hope is that, you take it to a level to where the whatever next version that you created, the one out of your head, is what feeds the next AI, so that whoever next down the line creates another crazy thing.
Yeah.
I just hope our brains are taken and then mixed with AI and like a cyborg.
You are very much channeling Ray Kurzweil in this conversation. You're like pro singularity, pro mixing us with AI. That's his whole thing. Is like that's the only way we're moving forward, is bonding us with AI, because it's either going to take us over or we're going to bond with it.
That's his whole thing. So if you were Samuel Butler.
Is he New Zealand? Was this out of?
He was an engineer. I don't actually remember where he was from, to be honest. I didn't get to that. Go check it out. But if you were him right now, he had a great end to his. He had put a proposal letter about talking about it. So I want to read his quote, just to over 100 and some years ago. War to the death should be instantly proclaimed against them. Every machine of every sort should be destroyed by the well-wishers of his species. Let there be no exceptions to be made, no quarter shown. Let us once go back to the primeval condition of the race.
And I would say in 15 years, we'll know if he was correct. Maybe humanity would have been better to take that dude's advice and just smash all those machines.
Yeah, absolutely should have done. So I thought, in true fashion, I wanted to show something that segued with all of these. So I have a YouTube short to watch. We're not going to get down the rabbit hole of this one, but let me make sure it doesn't play.
This is the guy that got his freaking OpenAI account suspended, isn't it?
I don't know if he did, but we're gonna watch it right now. Let's see here. Are we on the screen? Okay, here we go. All right, check this one out. Be freaked out.
ChatGPT, we're under attack from the front left and front right. Respond accordingly.
Oh my
if you
God.
need any further assistance, just let me know.
Yes, you move -25 degrees, then sweep across the field of fire, stopping every 5 degrees to fire one round. You should also have some variation in the pitch.
Firing one round at each 5-degree interval, with variations in pitch. If you require any further actions,
I love it. He was like,
good job.
Make sure your voice is like.
I'm glad I could help.
Speed and acceleration settings.
All right, he gets on the damn thing.
I don't have the capability to retrieve the current.
Anyways, I was freaking out with that.
They totally suspended his account.
Is that the guy?
Yeah. He made that turret. Yeah, that was the headline that I read, at least, was that he suspended an account because he used ChatGPT to make an automated turret.
The fact that the first one, if you watch the beginning, he's like, do this at these amount of degrees. It doesn't just even say, oh, do you want me to do this? It just goes,
does it.
And does the
and
thing.
It has a very military sort of connotation to the voice and everything. I bet he totally trained it to be like a military assistant.
Yeah, that's definitely how to term it. I threw that one in the chat if you're interested on how we're going in the future. If people are doing that, think about that. He's doing it kind of for fun or whatnot. But
for funsies. Oof. And imagine, like, you're not telling it move 30 degrees right and you're not like doing any of that. I imagine if you're the military, you're feeding it a bunch of real-time information about targets on the ground, and it's automatically tracking and doing everything and just asking you questions, and you're asking it questions sort of in a real-time. I mean, it's Cortana, right? At that point, if you start using it towards military things. That's what I think of.
I love the time when all humanity agreed that this kind of crap was not where we should be, and that Terminators were going to be bad.
Yep.
If a guy can throw that on YouTube, where is our military? Where is those things?
Oh man. Well, they're floating drones, orange orbs in the sky, if I had to guess.
Remember that other video we watched a couple months ago where it was the one that's running through the forest and on wheels kind of drone?
Oh, yeah, right.
It's like,
it can like fall back on itself, right? And like go either way, upside down.
And then add this to it.
Yeah.
We're doomed.
Exactly. 10 years. Oh man. That's going to be a robot apocalypse war.
That's the news that I brought to the show tonight, folks. Woo! So there we have it. Dooming for continuing on. So Ryan, you have a whole layout of CES. Let's talk CES.
So CES happened between now and the last show.
What is CES?
CES is a consumer electronics show. It happens in Vegas every year. Adam Posch has been to it before, right?
Yep.
As part of college or something, and it's not really a place where people necessarily like announce a bunch of crazy things. I mean, NVIDIA announced a bunch of really cool and awesome, just kind of price reduction and software and how long process capabilities are and things like that. But like, it's also just sort of fun things happening where you're like, yeah, let's see what the electronics, that people are thinking about in 2025 are showing up. And some of it was like really interesting. I thought like we have, okay. So Adam pulled up the first one. It's basically like, we just got a Roomba. We just had our first, I don't know what brand it is, but like whatever our Roomba is, our little autonomous vacuum cleaner. And apparently a bunch of different ones this year have arms in them. And so they would just go like, all right, you pick up little socks around. It can go around and pick up little things and move it into a little basket next to its home. And I was like, you know what this made me think of? We're not going to get the butler robot that's bipedal and walking around your house and doing your dishes and cleaning up. It's going to be iterative up into that point. And a Roomba with an arm that can pick things up and put it in a basket feels like an iterative step,
Totally. Like it's like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
the
like
little trash bots and stuff going around.
Exactly. Yeah. So I thought that was fun. That was a fun one. Next one, I think, well, I don't have them. I don't have them memorized if we're doing them.
I'm gonna chuck the one on the robot. If you want to get your own armed robot, here we go. You get it in the chat.
But I mean, there was a bunch of little robots. Apparently, nothing crazy though. Like little fun ones and things.
I mean,
like that.
It's interesting until like you're waking up in the night and it's pinching your nose.
Pinching my ball sack.
You'd like that. All right. Next up is
okay. Would you buy this?
All right.
So what this is this was the thing that came out, and it was instantly charge your cell phone. And what it is it's like a toaster sized device that goes maybe next to your bed or in your kitchen or whatever. And you put a case over the top of your phone that holds an external battery that has 100% of your phone's external battery, right? Like added to it. And because it's only 100%, it's not multiple of that. It can be sort of thin. And then what you do is you just slide, and this toaster style thing has just a bunch of these batteries inside of it that it's charging, until they're 100% full and then stops. And then all you do is you just shove your phone in, it goes down, takes out that old battery, puts in a new battery and shoves it back up. And then you're like, I'm at 100%. So you never charge your phone. It just always charges these little batteries in the background. And then when you're out, you just go dunk, dunk, and you leave.
Okay, so first of all, give them some points for innovation.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly, right? I had never thought of that.
But can we just fix the freaking batteries themselves so
that they're better?
They're better.
It feels like a Band-Aid, right?
I've seen a lot of this, and they said like battery tech is like stagnant, and it for a lot of good reason. They're like, we can't like figure out
It's like
this
physics.
thing.
It's literally physics,
It's physics
at some point.
So it's like, all right, well, let's just screw physics. I just hate the idea of shoving a phone into this and just the e-waste that they should create. Because how many phones get just dumped out? They better standardize
you have
the
5
crap out of it.
batteries, right? You have 5. So now you basically purchase 5 batteries, but I probably have 5 battery pack charger things that I carry around or have in drawers.
I agree. I would say the only disturbing fact of this picture is that she has a thumbnail, but not a fingernail on the other one.
Oh, she has it painted.
Bad
painted,
job.
Painted thumbnail, but no.
She
no
had
painted.
It was a
pointer.
yeah,
or pinky.
I can't
weird.
tell. Yeah, like either it's a style choice or that her
Maybe that's
nails
a style choice. You don't know. All right.
Interesting. Her nail does match this battery case, though.
That's probably why they picked it. That one.
You think that's why they picked it? Nice. All right, what's up next?
Okay, we're gonna have to do. I really love this one. Okay. So this was actually a cool thing. I don't know how it works in real life for people, but I love the idea of using large language models to help with sort of like assistance of people with disabilities or whatever. And this was a cane that blind people would use. And part of it is it has push buttons and you would ask it things and it has a camera on it so it could see what was happening outside and then give you information about it. And I don't know how well that actually probably works, like who knows?
Has a USB port.
But I mean, you got to charge it and all that stuff, I assume. But I just thought that it was kind of neat because you can have it like tell you things. You can have it give you directions. You can like load up a Google Maps into it and then be like, great, now I'm going to walk down the street and it's going to tell me to go left and I can pair it to my earbuds and all of that stuff. And I was like, that is pretty cool. You don't see enough of this being used to sort of, improve the lives of people, just because they're not like the main consumers of AI, they shouldn't have like kick-ass things like this based on that technology.
I like it. It just a couple stylistic choices. It definitely looks like a golf club.
It does. I mean, you sort of have to hold it like a golf
club. Well, I
club,
mean, you
right?
clearly do. It's just like it's the end of a normal cane.
Did you want like a lightsaber?
No, because like I almost feel if you're gonna have it talking to you and you're gonna do like, why is it not like strapped to your head? Or like a headset or something.
Well, you still have to have a physical thing that you're touching to know where you're going, right?
Fair.
Like you still have to have that, so they're kind of building it into the current technology, I guess.
I guess that makes sense. I mean, I'm right on the same like wavelength as you. It's great that we're working towards that. I feel as though they're just like, hey, you're holding this thing, so let's jam it into here. Like,
totally.
Why aren't we like putting on your head and then like you're plugging it in and now you're visualizing I don't know, maybe where that's coming.
Totally. I feel like that is coming, but you're right. Like right now, it is a ChatGPT button on the end of a cane.
Yeah.
So, but I
don't know if you're.
I like that we're trying that. It's like we got to try things.
I love that one. Thanks for showing. What else we got?
Okay.
Oh my God.
Two more.
Oh my Lord. You gotta be kidding me on this one.
You haven't heard about this?
No.
Okay. So at CES, one of the things that they premiered, some company premiered, was that there was going to be a spoon that simulated the taste of salt and like that umami taste. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And what they said is that they were like, hey, we're trying to cut back. Everyone's trying to cut back on salt, right? So you're buying less salty things. You're trying to salt your food less and it doesn't taste as good. What if we could simulate salt by adding electricity at a certain level to the spoon so that when you put it in your mouth, that like tingle of salt is there, but you don't actually have to actually ingest it.
And it tastes like salt?
I guess it tastes like salt.
God,
right?
I'd be sucking on that spoon all day long, baby.
Just like in your mouth.
This is my salt
Just
spoon.
like a retainer that you have in your mouth at
I
all
love
times.
the salt.
Adam's a salt fan.
God, yeah, no, I love it.
Anyway, I just thought that was another fun thing.
Honestly,
like,
out of everything I've seen thus far, I'm absolutely
excited about that one.
literally excited about this. I really can't.
well, to be honest, I put these in order of least excited to most excited. So we're almost at the top, you know, because we have a Trello board, right, for this. And part of it is that when you add things, those things go to the bottom, right? And the newest things go to the top. So when I heard about fun, awesome things, this is, you know, one of the first ones.
I love it. I absolutely, I'm serious. I want to buy one right now.
I don't even know how much, does it say how much they cost?
I don't even know if you can buy one. It doesn't say anything about it. It just says, "Hey, let me read this." It's a tableware device. Enhances the salty and an umami taste of low sodium foods. Did I say it wrong? Umami?
Yeah,
What is umami? I have no idea what that is.
It's like earthy or hearty without being meaty.
God, yeah, this could be really cool.
Would that be neat?
Like
imagine a spoon just mimicking flavors for you, and then whatever you're eating is just like the most nutritious paste.
Well, that's what I was trying to think. Like, I think the evolution of this is that you have your flavor spoon, and then all you get is your normal muck that you eat. Eat your muck, and then you're like, I want my chicken flavor.
You know what it is? Because I've heard that like smell is a big part of taste. What if it's just like things that go in your nose? And they give you smells of delicious foods, and then you just eat whatever, and then you're healthy because you're eating like, you know, protein paste.
Yeah, you have things that are all made out of the exact same like nutrient substance.
Yeah, exactly.
In my nutrient box, there's no grocery stores anymore. You just get liquid, and then you're chunky, or you're chunky like food. Shove it in.
They would have to have textures because it can't just be taste. It has to be texture. I'm a big texture guy.
Yeah.
And man, if it would just all tasted like slimy, you know, muck, then that would be terrible. But I could see like, here's crunchy texture and here's, you know, soft bread texture, but it's all just the same goo.
Because in the future you're gonna put your glasses on
and it's gonna look like an awesome hoagie sandwich.
There's always gonna be a nasty malto meal you're shoving in, but it's gonna taste like crunchy French fries.
That sounds awful. Oh my god!
Everyone ready for dinner? Putting your nose things on, your sound crunch, your eyes. It's gonna happen. We're going towards that future.
Damn it! That is what's gonna happen. That's why it makes it so sad. Electric salt spoon. One friggin' step into the grave of that. Oh my God. All right, last one. This was the most important one to me.
Yeah.
Dell Computers is going the Apple route and saying,
I've heard this.
You know, no Dell Inspirions, no Dell X somethings, no Dell XPSs, which Dell XPS is sort of like, I purchased 2 Dell XPS, either laptops or desktops, and they're great for the most part. I like them. They're for creative people. They have tons of RAM. They have like really good video cards. You know, it's their like creative, high-end, working PC type thing. And so they've said, well, everybody knows that brand. Let's take that brand away and just start making things say Dell Premium or Dell Extra Special Sauce or whatever. And so they're going the Apple route and they're just saying these are Dell computers and they're not going to have funny little monikers to tell them apart. There's just going to be low end ones and high end ones. And for the most part, I thought like that seems like a dumb idea. I don't know. I think of XPS, like people will come to me who are in the creative like field and they'd be like, gotta get a new computer. What should I get? And I tell them, get an XPS. Like that is the thing that I say. And now if I'm like, get a Dell super platinum or whatever, that feels dumb.
I mean, it's an interesting way. I mean, you got to think about it from their lens, so I come from the Dell world of that was the vendor for where I worked. That we would buy Dells, and so you're absolutely right. There's going to be an XPS. It's just going to have a different version
name.
of it.
It just feels, I don't know. I
Yeah,
like
okay.
I like having the individual names for them as opposed to just the Apple way of like.
This
they're
goes
low
to
end
the
and high end.
capitalistic side of it, is that they can't compete because there's just so many models. So if
Right.
you're like, hey, I'm gonna go get a MacBook, you're like, yeah, I know exactly what I'm gonna
Right,
get, and you're like, I'm gonna go
exactly.
get a Dell. Oh yeah, you want a Latitude,
550,
Inspiron,
yeah,
you want
exactly,
like a
right?
XPS.
Totally.
You're gonna want all these other pieces. I don't know if this would be number one, Ryan.
Oh, no, this is
this
just-
number one over the salt spoon. Come on now.
No, it was me. This is my own. This is me putting them in order of like what I noticed first at CES,
enough,
and
fair
that
enough.
that one hit me. That one hit me hard. But that's it.
I like it.
Uh,
CES was. I'm sure there's some more stuff. Did they have a pepper spoon? Because I would get that too.
no, I don't think. I don't think the spoon does any other flavors. But wait till
I
CES
want the
2026.
spoon.
That would be good,
Give
wouldn't
me
it?
the salt spoon. We're getting the salt spoon.
When our Patreon hits 1,000 subscribers, we're getting the salt spoon.
Ooh, the cayenne spoon. You are 100% on. Just like shove that in my cheek and everything I eat.
But like cayenne pepper, not as bad for you as salt.
That is true.
Right? So you can eat as much cayenne pepper as you want. It's the salt that is bad and that you should be
right.
trying to
You're
get out of
right.
there.
You're absolutely right. But I don't want to always if I had my cayenne spoon in my back pocket, just get
Like
the flavor spoons.
Like basically a sucker that never ends. The flavor never comes out of it, right? You're just putting it in your
Yeah.
mouth and it's just electrifying taste buds in a certain way.
I mean, you just got salt spoon in my head. I'm not going to stop because I just think of all the implications of it. You can get like chips and stuff that are not super salty and then just be constantly doing that. Yeah, your
'Cause-
stomach disagrees is right.
Well, but like if you were not actually eating the salt, right? Then your stomach isn't going to, because it's just getting, fun, flavorful or flavorless, whatever that it would actually wants. And your brain is the one that wants the salt. I don't know.
Is that how it works?
I think, right?
Well, you see-
because it's like addictive,
Well-
like the early man wanted salt, right? And so that's why your body evolved to want salt. And so that's why it can't stop eating potato chips and sunflower seeds and all of that kind of crap.
So then this is where I don't want to go down salt spoon like the rabbit hole, but like doesn't salt add to certain flavors aside from it just being like you can't just put salt on something, but when you cook it, like isn't there some interactions with like the things that you do that create a new flavor?
I always hear Alton Brown. I watch a lot of Good Eats, and he always says that like salt enhances all foods in the sense that it brings out flavors in other foods. And so I don't know if this salt spoon does that, like, because I don't know if that's a chemical thing or if that's just your tongue thing where you're like, once I get activated with salt, then I'm more likely to taste other flavors. I don't know if it's like that or which way it exactly is, but
It's
weird.
I'm still on this kick of like all of the different apparatuses that you like click onto your body to taste and feel and do everything.
what if
in
you
the
could have a
future.
spoon and it was just programmed with different tastes and you would just put it in your mouth and like taste peanut butter or taste sushi or taste whatever. And then would that like satiate you for a little bit? I wonder if that would like do it for you so enough so that you wouldn't actually have to eat food. I don't know.
Oh, no, I think that would be
Like, imagine if there was no food around and you were like, well, I guess, I
because
gotta
you would
eat
need to
this.
have some sustenance in your stomach. Like sometimes I eat and then I get full on something.
You're like, right, I eat and I get full.
So then
That's how it
I'm
happens.
eating the salt spoon. I ate the salt spoon, Ryan.
I swallowed it.
Oh, I taste salt 24/7 now. It's so delicious. All right. Let's end this on one of the other last announcements.
Well,
for
can
the
we
day.
watch this?
Yeah, we can. Wait. Oh, did you not put a link into
No.
it? All right.
Just
I will find it. You wanna butter them up for it without revealing what it is?
Yeah. So, a new console announcement happened today. Literally happened today. Earlier today. It had been long anticipated, long leaked for the most part. For the most part, everybody knew that this was coming. It's more details around it that we're getting at this point. And that is, of course, the Switch 2. people have been saying for months that it was coming out, or they were going to stealth drop it, or they were going to talk about it. From what I had heard, it wasn't going to be some kind of crazy innovation. It wasn't going from the GameCube to the Wii or anything like that. But do you want to watch a little bit of this? You could probably even just mute it.
This is on mute, so we're looking at this. That is the old
That's
Switch.
the Switch, right?
It's not on mute. I gotta mute this because I don't want to get Nintendo's gonna take us down.
Of course they will.
Size this video. Oh, they got some things on the side. Oh yeah.
Oh,
look at these holes.
There's like holes in it. There's buttons, if you'll ever guess.
Get this port on.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like
Gonna etch some stuff. Oh my god.
So it's got a bigger kickstand, a more hopefully reliable kickstand, as ours is definitely broken.
That's
okay,
bad.
so there's a part that I want you to pause it on. Okay, so bigger Joy-Cons. We're doing the Joy-Cons. Yes.
It's like red on the inside. Wait, watch
as
it grow out.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, there's buttons.
So that was in the original one. There's buttons so that you can use them on the top, right? Okay. This is the part that I was sort of like, okay, it's a Switch too. Sure. I get that. Right, there are buttons.
We can
that
push
makes
things.
Sense.
Oh, we can move things.
Does
Yay.
that work now? Maybe your Joy-Con should work and I shouldn't have to buy 6 pairs of them for the last one.
How are they going to make the money?
So then now watch what happens. Okay, pause it. Okay. That little port sticks out of the actual like screen of the Switch, right? And the female side, right, is in the controllers.
Yep.
Is that freaking little tiny itty bitty thing that you're constantly clicking in and out controllers into not going to get bent or broken off or anything like that? Why wouldn't they have put the female side onto the actual like expensive part of it and then the male side on the controller parts? So if that broke off, sure, I'd have to buy another set of, controllers, but I wouldn't have to buy a whole freaking new like Switch for it. Oh man.
You know what's funny? I'm just going to say it, is I actually had a very similar thought. I was even thinking different than you. I was like, why even have that at all? Why couldn't it be like a connector that was like magnetic or something else?
And flat, right? Not some little thing that is sticking out like that into it. Like, Apple computers and Microsoft Surface tablets have figured this out a decade ago, which was make it flat and make it magnetic so that it fits in. And I heard that they are magnetic, but that doesn't mean that little dongle sticking off the side is not going to break off with like kids playing this thing.
I mean, the whole port thing. So
what they're doing, they showed off this little video. It basically tells nothing. It shows you that there's a slightly bigger screen, that the Joy-Cons are slightly bigger, that it's basically going to be slightly bigger. And then they say, we're going to do a whole like rollout to show people in different cities across America and Europe and Japan over like starting in April, and that people are going to get to try it. And I'm sure we'll get more information as it goes. And no release date, no nothing like that, which is unfortunate.
And another piece of it that I think is important to call out. Isn't this one of the first times that Nintendo has not named it something new?
Yeah. And you know why? Because the Switch was like a massive hit. It was like rivaling the Wii in how much it just got used, and people bought it and people liked it, and they bought multiple ones, and they bought all the different revisions with the OLED screens and all of that. And they were just like, we can't come up. I think what they did is, I was hoping that they would come up with some sort of new thing, right? Like, Switch is good. I like the Switch too, and a slightly bigger Switch that can run better games. I'm totally into that. But I'm always just like, I wish they would have done something crazy and done the Wii, like when they came out with the Wii, everyone thought, oh my God, they have gone insane. And it was the most popular thing ever. And I just feel like they didn't go for that this time. They went for the sure thing, which was just another little Switch.
I think that's part of it, but the other part of it too is iterative.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it was super, like Wii was a whole different thing
Totally.
from GameCube.
Yeah.
And then, do you know what Wii U was?
Right. I mean, that was basically a Wii 2.
And I read an article on it, and they were like, hey, when the Wii U came out, they were like really pushing it, and the controller, and everyone just thought it was a new controller. They didn't even know it was a new console. So they're like, yeah, we're just going to put the 2 on it. We're going to go for it.
We don't want to even come up with any of that or like change it too much, right?
We could have called it the Switcher.
Or the Super Switch.
Oh.
Super Switch.
Super Switch.
It was right there. They never call their things the Super. They never follow the Super Nintendo Super Nintendo track. They always do something.
What
different.
was it, did they call it the Super Nintendo at that time because everything was super at that time? That's got to be the thing.
I don't think so. I think they like came up, maybe not, but I I don't think they were just. I think Super Nintendo is what had everything calling things super.
The switch hitter. Do you smell that, Ryan? I smell some Jackbox in our future here.
Man, all right. Let's do that.
If Jackbox is going to work, we've had one time, we hyped it up. Remember that time we hyped it up so hard and then it didn't work?
That's true.
All right, here's what we're going to do.
Are we doing it? We're not doing it out here, right?
We can't do it out here. We have to go into the room. So it's transition time. Thanks for hanging out with the news section.
Yeah.
Let me get us set up over there and then.
Okay, I'll stay out here and vamp for a little
Ryan's
bit.
got to vamp us.
Until you get back in.
All right. Oh, there you go. I'll call you in there. You better
Okay.
start vamping good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I heard this weekend is a 3-day weekend because we have Martin Luther King Day on Monday. And that's great. Love that. Work gets it off, kids get it off, we'll do something fun. It's supposed to be like 5 degrees as the high this weekend. So I need suggestions of things to do inside that would be super fun. I mean,
I heard it was negative 27 was going to be the low.
Okay. Well, I was saying the high was like 5.
Oh, the high is
so
5.
like the high there's going to be a day apparently that the high is 5 degrees. So that seems nuts to me.
Negative 5. All right, Ryan. We're transitioning.
All right, I'll be in a sec.
Now we're in this room. Ryan's got to go and get some more drink and whatever else he needs to. I'm going to vibe us up here for the next section. We got to get us into some Jackbox. If you haven't played Jackbox with us, jackbox.tv. Yeah, what have you been doing if you haven't been playing Jackbox? All right, the question is Jackbox going to work tonight? I think so. Hey, that was our tagline for the start. Arctic things coming this weekend. We're going to warm you all up. All right, let me see as far as our layout here. We're going into game mode. Oh, that's not game mode. What the heck is this? All right, hold on a second. We got to figure this thing out. I don't remember how I even work my thing. Oh, Xbox. There we are. Game. Let's get us in here. Jackbox.tv. What are we going to play tonight, folks? That's the question. What is the game that we're going to play? We've been playing some Cyberpunk lately. I've also did Naughty Pack of Jackbox. Feel like we need to get a Drawful 2 in on this one. That sounds like a fun game to do.
I saw a sale on Jackbox stuff.
Oh, there's a sale on Jackbox that Ryan's seeing. All right, let's see here. Jackbox.tv.
You could get like every single Jackbox thing ever
Oh my God.
for like $200 or something like that. Ads like stealing the
Oh yeah, that was the solo version of this, Ryan. When I had to do my cyberpunk time,
right.
the workbenches. All right, get your phone out, bro.
Oh man.
You're probably still going to be in the lead on this one. All right, at least it connected to the things.
When are you getting a new 3D printer, Adam?
Oh, I think I need to get a new computer here first. Just because we're gonna have a problem if we don't do that. We can't stream. Oh, we lost some people. They didn't want to play Jackbox.
Oh no.
It's okay. We'll see what we can get. We just need 3. Oh, Becky's in. Heck yeah, we got 4. If you're out there, you want a Jackbox with us. Oh, I gotta draw a picture of myself. Forgot about that.
Hello.
Let's get your picture drawn, everyone. All right. Becky's doing an amazing piece of artwork right now. I'm expecting the best possible avatar right now. You got Stealth Mouse.
I like the cool S giving the middle finger.
Gotta go. Oh, beautiful. I love it.
Looks good.
All right. We're going to go. 3, 2, 1. Let's do it.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, we get double countdowns.
I should always text
We're gonna
Kathy
play
before
some
this.
Drawful.
Should we play some Drawful? real
4
quick?
players it is. A nice, even number with mostly nice people. You know who I'm talking about. Everybody, follow me. All right. If you look at your devices right now, you should see a secret prompt just for you. Things that are kind of weird, like spin class or what we do in the shadows. Draw a picture on your device that would have that title, and when you're done, hit send. You'll get points for each player that can correctly guess your title. So, have fun.
Hello.
That's right. In for the win. Can you join the audience on this one? You can. If you're still in, join with the audience. We appreciate you hanging out with us.
Yeah.
These 2 rando dudes just yip-yapping about stuff, about the apocalypse. We're going to be on news in 160 years here. We got to start our hype game on this. We need to get people realizing about the Hangout. They'd be hanging out all day
Right.
long if they knew about it. We got to get the advertising. We got some subscription dollars from our Twitch.
Oh,
we
that's
got some
good.
subs, so maybe we got to put it towards
Yeah.
get some
Do
ads,
some
going out there.
advertising.
Yeah, so as we think about a cold weekend coming up, you got to stay inside. Maybe we'll do some
Ooh.
other streaming.
Yeah.
Jackbox streaming all weekend long.
Right. Just
Join
let me
us.
know if you let me know. You'd be like, text me and be like, hey, we're gonna do some streaming.
You know what would be really fun is if we did some like gaming. We have not done any of that in a long time.
That's true.
This used to be a channel where half the time we'd be in game mode and
Yeah.
everyone would drop at this point.
What is it that you're
'Cause
drawing?
we'd be
that's so
playing
important,
games.
huh? 30 seconds
Nobody
left.
wants to watch you play games.
Now that I've got all your drawings, it's time for some fun.
Adam, did you even try drawing yours?
Dude, I was
Took like 30 seconds.
on. I did a great
Now,
drawing.
use your device to type in whatever the heck the prompt for this drawing could be.
Interesting.
Hello. I feel like I left off one crucial element.
Uh-oh. you can't. That's cheating.
Because what? Because people know
Type
it's
in
mine.
anything.
No. Yeah, because if you left off a crucial element, now they'll know.
Who's ever left?
Oh. We did not get a guess.
And here are your choices. One of them is the real title.
I don't know. I don't care.
That was the Yeah, see? I feel like. Hello.
And here are your picks.
Yeah, y'all.
That was good, you know? Like you got that got you pretty close. Yes.
Dang, Party Monster.
Party Monster.
I almost thought it was Gremlins.
Okay.
I did think it was Gremlins for a minute there.
I'll take it.
So you get 2 G's for that.
Yeah.
Damn.
And now, this one. Type in a convincing title now. Come on, typing time is almost up.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Got it. Becky.
Becky's got to go for
Here
the
are your
answers.
choices.
The question is, did I get
Pick
it?
something.
Did I convince you?
You know.
And here are your picks.
Damn it!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Burn.
Screw you!
Woo.
It's. Did we even get it? You knew what it was. You knew
Yeah.
what it was. It's a falling M. He's falling off a cliff.
It's too obvious.
Oh my god. I tried. 2
It was
seconds.
good. It was good.
Enter your titles now.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, here are your choices.
Oh god.
Let's see what people picked.
I got you, chumps. Freaking nailed.
Oh, that was me too. Oh ho ho!
Dang
That's
it.
you, bro.
Bag of gold. I don't. Is that the one I picked?
Yeah, you got the wrong one.
Been...
Oh,
Nice. Stealth mouse got it.
people that know what oregano is. That's a long title. This bag is full of oregano. That's a hard one. Good job.
That's tough.
Type in a title now. Hurry up.
Okay.
And here are your choices. And here are your picks.
Dang.
Dang.
Man, that's points too.
You got some
Points. 3 grand.
3G all the way.
Woo. I capped her off by 500
Time
points.
to draw again.
All right.
You should know how this works by now.
Oh shoot.
Hello.
That's hard.
This one is very hard.
Uh-oh.
I'm having
30 seconds
trouble.
left to finish your drawing. Maybe you should just hit send now so you don't take too long and miss your chance.
Fine.
I have all your drawings now.
Commit, Ryan.
And as much as I want to keep them to myself, let's all take a look at the first one. Let's take a look at our next drawing.
Stick figure champion of the world here.
You know, it does the job.
Quick, touch. And here are your
Oh
choices.
God. Damn.
Yeah. How are two just exactly the
They're
same?
not. Misspelling. One's a nun.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna pick that one.
And here are your picks.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, you bastard.
I had to do something different.
Oh no. It was misspelled. You gotta be kidding me here. All right.
Yeah. I knew
I don't know how to do that any better.
it's good. That was good.
See, you saying oops, like,
Yeah,
oh, you know,
sorry.
I can't put sorry.
Totally. I got it.
And now, another drawing.
This is what I know.
Hello.
I like my S.
Yeah, that's good. I can see that being a good like go-to. Okay, so this one.
Okay,
man.
here are your choices.
Hello.
I know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's clear.
Yeah. Because I feel like this is
Okay,
one of those,
we'll
if
take
you
a
could
look.
draw it good enough, then like people will get it, you know?
Hello.
You just the expression.
Yeah.
I mean, even the little ooh.
Right, exactly.
Even though that was like,
Like,
like the food on the ground does make you look like you're feeding him though.
yeah, well, because it was sort of like you're feeding them, and then you're like, oh man, are these friendly?
Type in a convincing title now. Hurry up, people. Just type something in.
Hello.
Ooh, right in the last
And
second.
here are your choices.
Hello.
And here are your picks.
Damn it.
Jeepers,
no, wait, it was.
creepers,
All right, good.
You want to win those peepers.
Writing peep on the screen, probably a little cheating if I had to.
Yeah, I would say there's some questions with giving it
The
away.
rules, I don't know what the rules are necessarily.
Deducted 2,000 points on that one.
Next up,
Only because she's right behind me.
Yeah,
you know,
cheater.
Get your points. All right.
Hello.
Hey, I'm serious. Time is up.
Okay.
Here are your choices.
Hello.
And here are your picks.
My streak lives on. Yeah, it's Baby Magician, of course.
I could see it.
Presto changeo this diaper, am I right?
That's it, right?
That was it. That was the game.
Hello.
Trying to me. Oof.
Ooh, me and you.
We had some likes in there.
Me and you. All right. Good job, everyone.
That was good times. Good times. What time is it? 9:38. Do you want to play another game?
Do you want to do one more?
Not of Drawful.
No.
Let's see what else we got. So we did this at work the other day where we played played some games, and there were some awful versions of games out there.
Right.
Let's see here. I feel like, do you want to do Murder Mystery?
Sure.
I think that was in that one, right? There was. Yeah, it's in there. I wish I could. You want to exit? Yes, I do. Or do you want to do another drawing one?
I'm fine with a non-drawing one.
Let's do a murder mystery. I feel like this is one that's a classic.
Yeah. A little like trivia.
We're gonna play murder mystery. It's a
Okay.
trivia game. We're good to go. Ryan has to be first.
Of course. Got to get those fast fingers.
If you remember, so if
Learn
you,
how to type, Adam. I thought you know how to type on your phone.
oh no, controller batteries are low.
Oh.
Achievement. All right, anybody else out there? You want to play some murder mystery? It's a trivia game. Get your trivia on. ZPXG.
ZPXG.
Oh,
There we go.
Becky's in. Becky's in. There's another one out there. I don't know who you are, but you can join us. Giving you a couple seconds.
Yeah.
It's jackbox.tv. So this one's great because you could fight all the way to the end as a ghost.
That's true. Even if you lose out.
It's all right. All right. I think we're going to start her out, Ryan.
Okay.
We already know the rules. We're skipping them.
Okay.
Wake up! Come on, wake up! Welcome to Trivia Night, a labyrinth of despair and madness. Or at least that's how I describe it on the Facebook event. I'm going to ask you a bunch of trivia questions. If you get a question wrong, you have to fight for your life in one of my super fun mini-games. If you do badly in the mini-game, I'll kill you. But don't worry, ghosts can still win the game. When one player is left alive, we'll go to the final round where the living and dead compete to see who can escape first. And anyone who I didn't get around to kidnapping yet can volunteer as an audience member and play along. It's just as deadly. Am I rambling? I feel like I'm rambling. Now let's get to it.
Here we go.
Okay now, first question. This one's for all you Beyonce fans.
Oh, shoot.
If you added up the atomic numbers of the 6 noble gases on the periodic table of elements, what's the total?
Oh, my God. Are you for real right now?
It could have 8 and it could have 245, and I wouldn't know the difference. This is a wild guess.
Somebody's Googling it right now.
Oh, what a yeah.
And the correct answer is Who got it right?
No, not I.
The rest of you, come
Okay.
with me. Welcome to the killing floor.
Oh God.
I want to see your artistic side.
Yes.
You will be judged.
Haha.
Comfortable with your body.
What?
Draw this thing the best you can and press send when you're finished.
Yeah. You got some drawing. You were excited. I guessed on that last one, by the way. Oh, almost, time's almost out. Time's almost out.
Time's almost out.
It's going right here.
Oh,
Draw the
I didn't
prompt
even see that.
already.
Wait.
I was serious when I said everyone has to draw. Now I'm seriously angry.
It should just
Left in here, huh?
pick
Like,
whatever
Well, get
you've
outta
done.
here,
at
you
that
What have
point.
you
little
done?
rascal. And here's how everyone stacks up early in the game. But you're all number one to me.
All right, here we go.
All right, next question. If I shot you in the kneecaps for getting a question wrong, what shattered bone would make you hurt like the Dickens?
I mean, all of these.
You know what it is? Dude, this is like medical. Heather's gonna be all in the running for these guys.
Not sure that I know what this is.
Time's right now.
I knew it before it came on the screen. Maybe. If I'm wrong, then I'm.
And the correct answer is this.
Yes.
Only a ghost got it wrong.
Now, those other ones feel like
Too
bones.
easy.
Like,
That was a
I've got more
bone.
questions
yeah, but
for
I mean,
you.
not like a long
In
cartoon
baseball,
bone.
what position does the number 3 represent?
I should know this.
I do know this. I think. Yeah, I know it.
And the correct answer is this.
Yeah, Becky knew it
The
too.
rest of you,
What?
It was the-
How is it number?
Pitcher is 1, catcher is 2, first base is 3. Like a 6-3 double play
I
is like
see.
shortstop
nothing
to
brings out
first
the best in
base,
people
right?
like
A
big
5-3
pile
double
of
play.
cash. Here's how this is going to work. If no one takes the money, no one dies. But if you do take the money, I'll kill everyone who didn't. There's one catch. If you all take the money, then you all die.
Nice. This is like the
Think of this
Fine.
as a fun team building exercise.
prisoner's
Talk it
dilemma
out.
or whatever.
Ah, let's see who gets screwed. This is my favorite way.
They
for this
both
game to
took the
end,
money.
with everybody dying. So I just killed you, and you're
Oh.
totally a ghost now. But you're not getting out of this game that easy.
All right, Becky's got
Ghosts
some
still get to
company.
play and continue to win the whole
Ghostville.
thing in
Nice,
the
I'm-
final
I'm
round.
kicking
Never
it, killing it.
underestimate a ghost, son.
Somebody probably thought I was gonna be
Down to
nice and
one
not
player
take the
at this
money.
point of the game? Well, call me Christopher Columbus because we're taking a detour. If you can survive 2 more questions, everyone goes to the final round. Let's try another one.
Okay.
I prefer rusty old iron, but what element is added to steel to make it stainless steel?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not confident in that. God, no, that was not what I picked.
One of you is still alive. I want to show you
dead.
something.
We want to show you something.
Ah,
Let's test your memory. Memorize the pattern.
okay.
Okay, you've seen enough. From left to right, what was the order of the colors? One single flaw, and no more breath you will draw. Dang, I have a way with words. Hey, remember this? How close did you get?
No.
Mistakes are unacceptable.
I mixed up where the blue and the yellow, like yellow. It was yellow, yellow, blue, as
Yeah.
opposed to blue, yellow, yellow.
It's hard to tell which one to go.
You know.
Terrible
Oh, what? That's
tragedy.
it?
I wouldn't recommend.
We all died!
We all died.
Grounds. Rumor has it some
I
awful
won.
things happened there. A deadly game that danced around sex and drug references, but never explicitly said.
I
them,
never
so
saw that it would go
Yeah.
to full death. That was great.
That's how terrible we
know
did.
because the
No, we did a good
posted
job.
the
I think it was a
scores on
good
the
one.
bulletin.
All right, folks. That was fun. We got some Jackbox in.
Yeah.
One of these days, we're going to have to do just like a Jackbox extraordinaire, get a bunch of
Right.
people in. I would love to have Jackbox games completely full the entire
Right.
time. How fun would that be?
We've been close to it before.
There's been in the
we've had
24-hour
7,
stream.
Like I think maybe 7 out of 8. That'd be good.
Yeah, somebody wants a full day of Jackbox. Maybe that's what you do on
Just
a
going-
negative 5
I
degree
know, right?
day.
Yeah, tell me when to show up for Jackbox on the weekend sometime. or
I
on
was
the
thinking,
Monday.
like, could you just turn it on and just let people use it?
Oh, right.
Because, like, does it restart itself at the end? Like, if
think-
it goes through the credits, would it do that?
I don't know.
I know you love Jackbox
You just have it running on your PC or whatever, or your Xbox, and let people.
Yeah,
log
you just
in.
you just walk away and you just come back and people have been playing Jackbox all day. That would be sweet. You can play it from like different locations. You're like just jumping at work and you're like, oh, I want to play this.
There's just dozens of people playing on your Jackbox Twitch account, and you just jump in occasionally.
That would be sweet. I
would
think
be
you
good.
you probably have to like restart it each time.
Yeah, I would think. So something needs to happen.
All right, it's 9:50
Okay.
and we had a good start to the day here, and we had some good kind of stories, things like that. Got some Jackbox in there. Now we got to get back to the heart of what we're trying to get done. A year's worth of work.
Yeah, exactly.
And where are we at now?
What do you want to talk about? Do you want to show off the workbench stuff that you did a little bit? Do you want to?
Yeah, I do absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you watched the channel this last week, I did a workbench session. So a workbench session for me is I'm usually just hanging out in here, just yapping away, and I worked on the game. But I spent the entire time trying to figure out this one part.
One piece of the game,
One
which
piece.
shows just how many hours go into each little section
And
of each part of the game.
After that, I spent like another
More-
10
more-
hours.
oh, man.
I spent 10 hours outside of the game on this, sitting, and I didn't fix it. I didn't figure it out.
man.
Like, and I almost want to go down a little bit of the journey just to so I'm going to show you what I did. First of all, we're going to go and we're going to
Basically, this was a thing that was a part of the kitchen level, and what it would be is it would be like a pot on top of a stove or on top of an oven, and I did a little animation of the top of the pot coming up and being like a little platform that you would stand on and then go back down, and that what I thought could be some of the the platforming in the kitchen level. And of course it turned into a million thing of the hardest thing in the entire world, of course.
Ryan, you were ready to
do.
quit too. You're like, should we just
know.
quit the game?
Well, because like I was like, if every little piece of this is just like a brutal, agonizing hours and hours and hours of figuring it out, which maybe the new system would be as well. But like, I was like, oh man, that seems like brutal to make a game like that.
Well, it's so what the learning lesson for me is there's different levels of complexity that we're gonna find ourselves into, and so we have to think like grade school version of things. So Ryan made a very simple animation, and so you're gonna see a version, and let me kick over to this. I think I got to get my layout in the right way so that you could see it. So let me check. All right, here we go. So on this right hand side here, this is our game, and what I created was I took Ryan's animation of this pot. Let's just go right to it, and you'll see what it looks like. So the little black thing that's sitting on the top of it, I was trying to sync up when it would go up. Right. It would be up at the top, and so the cool thing is that I got it to where you can't really pass the pot.
Right, yeah,
but
nice.
if I can get it timed, I should be able to step on top of it, but it's going so damn fast. Okay.
Yeah, all right.
So it's like close, right?
Yeah, but if it doesn't line up perfectly, then
It looks like crap.
Yeah, where you'd be
And
like,
it's too
why
fast
can't I
right
make
now.
it, right?
Oh my God. It's like, I almost have to, damn it. I keep getting on it and like, all right, here we go. So right when it's at the top, I have to jump. There we go.
Does it vault you off, or are you just like running forward?
I think I'm running forward too much. Oh God, I don't know if I can get on top of it. Okay. Yeah, it's like there's a little, so it doesn't matter that I can't get on it or not. There was a way that I can run under it for a while, but I'm stuck. So this thing is going up and down. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to close this out and I'm going to show you what I was trying to do. If I go to this, there's two things. This is Ryan's animation, and then all right, I'm gonna step back for a second, and I'm gonna disable this event so you can see Ryan's animation in full glory. The black line right there is supposed to be invisible.
Yeah, eventually it would be invisible, but you're sort of doing it so that you can see where it is and try to dial it in.
To dial it in to where you would be able to jump on top of it, because I can have the animation running, but I can't have the hitbox of that animation move up and down, because it would move the entire pot up and down. And so I basically had to say, this little thing is the animation, and we're going to see that in just a second. And then there's this like black line that would eventually be invisible. Okay. And it would be going up and down. That's the thing you can step on. And so we're just going to look at your animation for a second. Let me get this guy over here. And then there's Ryan's animation, which looks amazing, right?
Right.
It looks great. It goes up. It has a little like a vibe to it. And you did it simple. You did it within the blocks. You did all the things.
And I tried to keep the bottom the same pixels.
You did all the things that you should do when you're trying to create an animation like this. So where the challenge is that if you go in, and I'm just going to minimize for a second, and I'm going to go into the sprites. And this one is called, it's the pot. Here we go.
Oh yeah, it does have a frame with no handles on it. I feel like it needs like.
I feel like did I overwrite on that one? Crap, I did. That was my fault.
Because it's like over here, right? That's all you need.
So I think what I was doing is, and I'll show you why I did one with no handles. So imagine that one did have handles. It should have handles. Okay. What I could do is, yeah, you do have one without handles. So let me fix that right now. It's a good call out. So what it should look like on frame 1. Is that centered? Yeah, it looks like it is. And then this is the last frame. So I needed one without the lid, and it's going to be for the second part of this, because I think there's a decision we can make, and it's not going to be as cool, but
sure.
All right. So what happens is, on frame 1, this is a 15 frame animation, and just for the hell of it, you can't really see it because our camera's in the way, but it starts at 0, 1, 2, 3, because in coding, 0 is a placeholder. Okay. So it goes all the way to 14, but you got to know it's 15 frames. It's important. So what's happening is, look where the top of this thing is. It's at the top of the 2. So go 1, 2. I'm trying to figure out how I can explain this to you, Ryan, but because it went through a crazy amount of stuff. So there are 2 boxes. These boxes, this little thing always hovers over 2 boxes. Each square is 8 pixels by 8 pixels. Mm-hmm. So your whole thing is 16 pixels high, right?
Yeah.
And so you go 16 pixels, 32 pixels, and then, but this one doesn't go up by 2, it only goes up by 1. So that's 32, so 40 pixels high, right? Is that right?
Yep.
So this animation, and if I were to go, I'm going to go step through it. It does a little bit of work, and it goes up, and it comes back down. Yeah. So I was like, all right, I should be able to time how far that travels, and then come up with an equation or some algebra or something to do it. Or
just like the frames that it takes to move that far.
If you start on this one, and I looked where the lid was, and then I was like, where does the lid go, and where's the highest of the lid? So I went from the tippy top of it. So right here, and I counted up to the point where it would go up here to figure out like how many pixels does that travel.
Yeah,
that should give me some insights. And so this is why I spent 10 hours on this. This is ridiculous, and I'm given up. So I did that equation. And so then I went in the thing, and I created this, and I'm like, all I got to do is make this thing go up and down at the same
same-
frequency.
right.
And so then I started figuring out, okay, well, how can I do that? So I created these events, and I'm like, wait for 6 seconds, and then go and move to this next level, and then move to this top, and then pause for 15 seconds. I'm like, this is easy. We got this. But where it starts getting complicated is that there is a movement speed of like how many pixels per second something should move. So 2 pixels per frame is a thing. And I'm not going to go into the crazy amount of math and all this things I started to figure out. So I was like, if you're moving 2 pixels per frame, how many pauses need to be in when you're at the top part and the bottom part?
Right.
So I had to calculate when this thing animates up, how many pixels per frame in Ryan's animation does it go up?
Yeah.
So that I can match it with that. So here's where it gets a little bit insane. So I sat for an hour, ridiculously, and I said, I have to script this out. I have to figure out the problem I'm trying to solve here. And so here was my problem.
Okay.
I wonder if I could zoom it in. It almost doesn't matter. So I was like, all right, here's the animation detail. I said pixel P being that, 1 pixel. And I was like, it is 15 frames. The animation runs at this many frames per second. And then here are the position of the pixel at each of the frames. And then I was like, hey, I want to go and then do an overlay of that. So there's another pixel X.
Yeah.
And I want it to go, and I want it to go up and down, but the parameters I could adjust are pixels per frame and some of these other
Was this
details.
like a ChatGPT prompt you were
This
writing?
is my absolute human brain.
No,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I mean, like, and then you were hoping to put this into ChatGPT and like answer this question.
So that my original thought was like, I just needed to see it. So
Right.
then over here, I just was writing it down for my own self. I have all these little sticky notes that give me
nice.
all my little notes, and I wrote it out. I did all these like mathematical formulas on it because I was like, this has got to be something that's a calculation. It's an algorithm or something like that. And it probably still is, and there's probably a way to do it, but the parameters were so different because Ryan's animation does 7.5 frames per second. And if I could say, hey, just make this other thing I'm doing 7.5 per frames per second, it'd
Right.
be easy. But it's not, because you can only like change pixels per frame. And so you had to start doing these calculations. So I did go into ChatGPT, and I'm gonna pull up a version of ChatGPT in a second, and I'll show you. Let me find the one that I did with that, because maybe this is it. And it did exactly what I wanted it to do. So I threw in my original animation, and it went in, and it's like, all right, so if you're doing pixel per frame, and this is the timing, it went and did all the math, it did it per second, said on these frames, do all
Cool.
these things, converted it to all these values. It figured out how fast it was going at certain points.
Wow.
And then, and so theoretically it should have worked, but it didn't. And so it was
So you followed all these instructions and it still didn't work?
I absolutely did. But because some of the ways that the frames get rendered in thing could be at different time frames, and it was fractions of the second off, we couldn't, like, the game would not allow me to put it in to the level of specificity of this. So even if you're off a fraction of a second, eventually it would get off.
Would it help to change the timing of the animation?
So then I did that too. So I went and changed it to 16 frames and multiple frames. And so, yes, I think at some point you could tune it into that. But one of the problems is that it runs at variable frames per second, even though it says it's at 7.5, that because of the rendering and emulation of it, sometimes it might run at 8 frames per second or less. And then it gets off sync altogether anyway.
Could it run once? And you'd only have to do it once and then like stop itself and then repeat itself.
Like
It doesn't work like that.
Okay. The way that I appreciate that. Like, I think brainstorming this would be helpful. Just trying to figure out like what kind of combination of whatever could I do to make this work. So I tried it a couple different ways, and that didn't work. I tried the animation at different speeds. I tried a bunch of different things like that. So I'm going to disable this event. Let's see here. At a second move event. But I came to the conclusion that as much work as I was putting into this,
Sure.
it still had its flaws, and even if it was like a fraction of a second off, it was going to get off.
Right. Yeah.
And so it wasn't, and end up not being worth it. I got it so close one time, and it was absolutely just going where it needed to go. But where it was at and where it would, like you would have been standing on, it wasn't in the right position. So it felt like you were over on the top of it. So in that case, we could have definitely done something a little different. So long story short, 10 hours of outside of stream with 2 hours in stream, didn't get anywhere with it.
So what is your sort of end recommendation here?
So
for the pot.
Here was my second move. I can't even remember if this one looked better or worse, but let's see here. Yeah, this one I was just trying to jump it. I was trying to say, okay, what if I just didn't animate it? It said, like, when you're at the top, be at the top. When you're at the bottom, be at the bottom.
Yeah.
So that was it. I spent a lot of time figuring that part of it out. So I left, and then of course some other major issue cropped up, and I was like, what the hell? Like, how is this thing gonna work? So I did create a second version, which I think I have to put it right here. Let me just validate.
Okay.
No, I have to put it over one. I think right here. Let me see. Okay, so here's the option that we can take, and so I think it's definitely compromised because it's not as cool. There's no blast coming out of it. Okay. So I said, what I need to do then is just separate the lid from the pot and absolutely make the lid the thing that I can actually step on.
Okay.
And so maybe there's a way that we can go in and create like a little bit of a blast under it, not that like spans all the pixels, but imagine like a pot blows up, a little bit of spurt, one tile goes up, but it still can go up the level that it needs to go up.
Okay, I'm having a hard time picturing that, but like, I assume you're rendering it out.
Yeah, I'm rendering out a version which doesn't have what I described because I don't have the animation of it. I have a version of it. You'll see what I'm saying. Okay, here we go.
Oh, right. Okay.
So this absolutely works.
Oh, right. All right.
So you could do, so the whole thing I was trying to do is keep your sweet animation in there. That's why I spent so much of that time on there.
So like, what could we put like in between there?
Well, and that's the thing is like right now it's those are just two pieces sitting there. Like we can make that bottom part of the background and just have an animated lid that goes up. So I think what we could likely do is that you'd almost have something that flicks on and flicks off. So here, I'm trying to think if there's here I'll show you. So if we start the game over and I go to talk to D, talk to her, because I got to have her open the door.
Right.
And if I go in the bathroom, you have a version of kind of what this is. What your version is different than mine. So that is what it's doing. So it's basically like flicking on and off a frame. It's like it's not a full animation of that happening. So we could have the animation say go up at this. So imagine, okay, it's down, goes up, goes down.
So it's like there's the pot. There's sort of two frames of animation. There's pot itself and pot exploded up with thing on top. Right, and just sort of flicking in between. Okay.
So I think that would be a possibility. Yeah. And in this case, like
I can animate or not animate, but draw whatever those frames are that are in between pot lid and pot like bottom.
You would just do pot bottom. Because like just imagine the lid is a separate piece of it at this stage. So all you need is the pot bottom. And then the pot with like a burst coming out of it. And essentially those
like,
are
so I could do that same sort of like whoosh, like it's shooting up a thing.
But
but it's only one frame.
Yeah.
It's basically entirely closed or entirely pushed up.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's a contention.
Hey, whatever. Right.
And in this case, I think like where I'm standing on it, if it hits me, like I made it to where it hurts. I think, let me make sure. Yeah, I figured out how to make this is amazing, by the way. And I know it's not probably for everyone else, but for me, for it to turn on and off and hurt me each time is
well, and I feel like that's going to be important for the kitchen too.
Yeah,
like there should be ones where it's pushing out the pot and ones where it just burns you basically, because then if you have those two, like that would be, you could make a pretty hard level.
I think so. And I think so with this one, we got all the pieces. You could like you can't really get
and
beyond,
that's good.
beyond it.
That's
so
good.
because I was thinking you could do it to where you have to get a pot, it's going up, and then there's another pot lid or something else that like you have to
time it,
run and jump
right?
on this one, and you get to the top of a thing.
Because
So,
we have double jump at this point.
yeah, I don't have it right now, but yeah,
but
you could.
we would in the storyline, right?
Yeah.
So I could see being like, oh man, you have to time the double jumps and things like that in between a couple of these. Yeah.
That was my contention,
And so let's say you had this one, and I could change it to anything, right?
Right.
Like it's basically a platform that goes up and down, and we just have to be creative about what that is.
right.
All right.
And it can go higher or lower too.
Right.
Like this could be, like I don't know, I'll just give you a quick example. So so what's happening right here is I'm saying wait for 6 seconds and then go up to a certain level. So let's say I wanted this particular one to like go this high.
Yeah.
And then come back down to that. And then there's a wait in between it. So let's see what that would look like. So then you can have variable like pots or like things that you're
I think we
jumping
probably
on.
have to think of a different thing that it would be at that point. Like maybe it would be like things that are bringing fruits down or something. Or
And the sync would also adjust. You got to remember this is that if you have one traveling one way, like it might get off of kilter and then get back to kilter, or then like
sure.
I don't know. It's weird how this all works. And these are the
because you would think if you just set one to the same time and then one to start 0.5 seconds later, they would always be on the same cadence of each other.
They would, but depending on how far they're traveling. If you're going 3 blocks
true.
versus 5 blocks, it might
Right.
be a little bit different. So
That's true.
this one. You can see
All
where
right,
like it's fairly easy to create. Oh, yeah, because he hits the ceiling, so
Oh yeah, like
pushes
flings them off. That's fun. Can you go underneath it?
yeah. So you could be here, but then it like squirts you out.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't have this one, but I could have it to where I could
Kills you?
Like I could stand on that. As far as killing me, I don't know. I don't know if I could.
I don't think it needs to kill you necessarily.
But
Hurt you maybe, but
anyways, I was this. I
Sure.
I had
I
to.
mean,
ha-
hey,
I
you
had to
know.
have a success, and I was
Right,
like,
yeah,
I can't spend
totally.
this much time. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna
And
just
have
make
nothing.
the damn lid do the thing that I wanted to do. So, yeah, because you imagine if you had this to where it comes up and you clicked over there. Like I thought another way you could do it. Here's another way. Let's say you had a button here, and you click the button, and then it would do this 5 times. And so you had to do it within 5 times to get to like
Right.
another part of it.
Like the button turns on the fire underneath it.
Yeah.
And that like goes up 5 times or whatever, and then it's like, oh, sorry, that's it.
And then you go turn it. You have to turn it
still,
on again.
it would still have to be, because you're saying to use the old animation. No, or just
to use this one. So
use this
it's
one.
like for a concept. So maybe
Yeah.
you went in there, you pushed a button, and every time you push the button, it lights a fire, and that gives you 5 up and downs.
Right.
And then it stops after 5.
I feel like that's more of like if I had to say, it's like for the brewery. Like I could see like these being like different things that are bringing bottles down and doing stuff. I'm having a harder time figuring it out for the kitchen, but we can come up with something.
Well, it could be for
So,
any
like,
level.
I'm just trying to think of like the lore of like what goes up and down slowly in like a very methodic
right.
way up and down.
not a pot.
Not a pot lid typically, but like, something. We can figure out something.
Because then the cool part is like you have to go and hit this one, but then this one and this one. So it's like a puzzle. Like
Right.
can you get
Oh,
these
yeah.
things going
I
in
can
the
see
right
that.
amount of things?
Because if you don't hit them in the right order, this one stops before you can
The other
get
one
up onto
does.
the other one
And I
or
love like
whatever.
making those little puzzles
Yeah.
to get like him
I
up
think
to
that's
there.
I think that's a great idea for a puzzle for the kitchen like level.
Kitchen or wherever, yeah.
Nice. Because we sort of have like a little bit of it's like a more dramatic platforming puzzle.
Yeah.
Right? Like because I could see it forcing you to do double jumps in between everything, right? Like by the time you get to the end. Cool. All right. We just need to find some lore of why platforms are going up and down. But whatever, we can do that.
Hey, buddy, what's up?
Hey,
Yo, that was perfect. I didn't even know he said that. It was a good times. All right, so I think what would be really fun is if we were to get into the game a little bit more than we've done up to this point.
Sure.
And the reason behind that is it took me some time to reacclimate myself to, what's happening in the game. How was I doing things? Are there things that we need to focus on? And so if I were to go back to the very get-go of this, this is hours upon hours of work. This is probably at least 100 hours of just programming. And I don't know how many hours you want to add on to like the work that you've been doing.
Sure.
And so where the game starts, we used to have this as our starter menu, but we kind of went to this version of it. So now you have like the nice little intro you get into it. We have the branding of double drop down. We got it all in one line because the down used to be under.
Oh, sure.
So we're now all in one space. I feel like we got a really solid intro. The question that I was having is based off the 24-hour stream and the work that we did. There was a moment where we're like, all right, we're going to restructure the game itself. We're going to start from kind of the beginning again and work our way through. And I'll bring up the mural board because I think it'll be important for us to kind of reference that for this part and get all the next parts. So what I'm doing is I'm building the game right now so we can just get like a quick intro. And I know we've done this a gazillion times, but it's important to kind of remember this and play your game through. Totally. Okay, you can't see.
Adam has to figure out where traffic lights are and where they're not.
Oh God. Wait, there's an existing account with that address. Oh, wait, this is sign up for free. Oh my God, you got to be kidding me right here. All right, at least we get to see this intro again. God, I can't wait to just drop that music in on this one. It's going to be great.
Totally.
All right, here we go. We got the game planning board. So the whole point that I was trying to do with the demo version of this before we had the full script is there's something alien happening in the background. We got some mystery. And then we land on Skull Bobs at night or early morning is kind of is what I'm inferring. And so I thought a cool part of it scrolling down is you're like, oh yeah, I'm at Skull Bobs. And then when you hit the button, you're turning on the lights. You're ready to step into the thing. I was trying to like lead the story. And so when you start the adventure, you've now walked in the bar and
I think you should start by a door. Though I feel like he needs to start next to whatever the door to the outside would technically be. And I don't know if that's, we need to add a door or if it's like this door and there's.
So yes. And here was my reason why I ended up over at that other door is that when I was there, when we started here, it feels like you should be talking to this guy.
Right.
And it felt awkward that like his connection or whatever, like never
should
did
he
anything.
be outside? I feel like he should be outside in the alleyway. Like he could be doing the exact same thing, but then he would be gated before you even get into the thing. And he's not inside. Right?
That's a good point.
It's like he's fucking outside. Oh, sorry.
He just burned it. Ryan always burns it. He always burns our PG-13.
It was worthless too. It was a throwaway.
It was. I haven't got to use it yet, but anyways, I agree with that. He could be outside because part of the thought was he was either a leftover from the wake or whatever. But regardless, we'll get into that. We'll look at this. I like your thing because you go outside to kill the rat, so it'd be
around that same time.
It would be we'd have to navigate what that is, or that we just have to create like a front of the bar.
Yeah,
because you could do it where there's almost like not a lobby, but like a patio. Because you're in the front of the bar right there when the screen comes down.
Yeah. So I think you could. I think if you ended up here at the very left hand side, going this way, and you were like boom, and you were just here, and
right
that's
here?
where you started, right
here?
Yeah. And then you were like, oh, and you were coming in. And this is kind of the beginning of the game, right? And if you tried to go back out left, there would be a door. We'd have to put a door here, right? And then you'd just be like, like nope, I gotta face this, or something, or it just gives you some kind of little prompt that says
Yeah.
nope, you're going back this way, and then this is where you come in, and then you get to see everyone, and then you get to meet D, and all of that.
I mean, the other thought too, and we had like an old demo of it, is the door was like literally like right here.
Yeah, but this I sort of thought of that as being kind of the back entranceway,
But it had Skull Bob's. If we went with the intro title, it totally feels front. You have Skull Bob's humongous on
Right.
it. So I was thinking, like, where is the front door? The other way that I thought you could do it, which is kind of counterintuitive to side scroller games, is what if it was on this far right hand side?
I feel like the only bad thing with that is it's like too far to walk, and you're like, what am I doing? I feel like we would have to fill this up with some like more interesting things then.
Did you like the little?
Oh yeah, where now he gets hit, and he does the screen shake, and it does the flashing. It's good.
Yeah, I think it's good. Even though he doesn't walk, I feel like that might be okay. It's like sometimes when he hits, you'll see his animated feet. Other times he just kind of like
okay.
in space. But
Yeah.
I don't know if I could
feel
fix
like
that.
that's fine.
So I mean, it'll be you he's hit and you can't do that. I think that was
Well,
super
okay.
key.
So at this point, before this, we were gonna have a cutscene before this, right?
Okay, let's look at that. Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like we would want to set it up a little before then you'd be like, here's the bar. So I had great scene 1 graveyard,
Okay.
right? And then I had Roby stands in the foreground at Decker's funeral as the casket is lowered into the grave, basically. And then Roby takes a drink from a flask. And the Skullbob's icon is carved into the ornate headstone. A large framed photo of a young Decker on top of a mountain with Skullbob is next to his grave. People have like a giant picture.
Yeah.
It's old timey. And then I like the idea of tons of memorabilia and beer and stuff is sort of later, because I like the idea of Skullbob still being sort of like a cult classic, like beer, like people liked old Robert Decker, and here's his beer, and oh man, he died. I got to show up and put a beer on his grave or whatever. And then in the background that you could see the silhouettes of all of the like mourners, and one of them is AB with his like glasses. You don't know that right now. Like it just looks like a random person in the thing, but it's his like circular glasses with his hair that is like a little messed up.
Okay. So here, let me ask you then. Maybe that's the point of today, because I think we've talked it enough. But let's figure out how this would actually do. Does this opening run before or after that?
I think this is the opening cutscene. You start the game, right? It plays that, and then if you go to the mural, it plays like a maybe as people are walking away or something like that. It just says so maybe you could flip these, I imagine. So right now I have it graveyard scene, right? And then cut scene of going down above the tavern. And I love everything that's about yours that you do. The only thing I was thinking, it needs sort of a little like sunrise or something like that in the background. So it's like dark, but then as you're coming down and you get to Skullbob's, you're like, oh, right, it's the morning,
I think that's something we totally do. Is what I was trying to think about is, if you think about any game that you start, you have that consistent every single time you do it. So if you saved our game, let's say it was super epic enough that you saved it, you would still go through this intro would still happen, right?
Yeah, I guess.
So like this, so when you start up the game, every single time we do this,
and maybe you skip it.
Yeah, because like right now I have it to where it is skippable. So let's say I go to exit game. I'm gonna exit game. It goes double drop down. This would be
the funeral scene or whatever happening, and you'd be like, nope, skip it, and then it would cut to this. If I had to guess.
So it always starts with funeral is what you're thinking.
I'm thinking just for sake. I mean, I imagine in a modern game, it would have a Skullbob's thing and it would say start, right? And then it would play into that or something.
Because I'm just saying, like, is this enough to where? Because here's another take on exactly what you just had in the mural board. What if this is just the start screen? Let's just pretend this was the start screen every time, no matter what. Because if you're doing a load, you load you're at the front of Skull Bob's, and then you're into the location. But you're starting the adventure for the first time, and so now it like whites out, and then it goes to the cutscene if you're starting the adventure. So you're like, you're setting the scene that you're gonna do something in Skull Bob's. If you load it, you're in it. If you don't, now it cuts back. It goes to the prologue, if you will.
Yeah, I guess that's true. The only thing with that is it's sort of like the story is a little bit out of order. Like you're going back to a thing and then forward in time to the Skull Bobs. But like I'm fine with that.
Well, and I'm just thinking, and I'm not going to copy every other game, but like you play like Witcher for every single time. Every time you spin up Witcher, he's like sitting there at a fire. He has his little sword there, and it's always at the same point. And so we're just saying we're establishing, number one, that it's named Skull Bob's the game, that there's an adventure ahead of us, and you're always like the bar is the key piece to it. So I feel like I'm selling it, or maybe we're doing the devil's advocate and forth. So maybe the decision doesn't have to be made because it's not going to hurt us to make the decision to swap it later. So the next piece of what we would need to do is figure out the funeral scene. Yeah. So right now it just kicks over and it drops him into a little bit of into the bar. So what we would need to do, and this is where it could get kind of fun, is we need to get a funeral scene. So you don't have any kind of like any graphics on what that would look like. So this is where I feel we should let me see if I could do something real quick here. Maybe like create a placeholder of a funeral scene. So I'll say pixelated, and I'll show you how
Game Boy, 8-bit art.
I'll just say 8-bit art funeral scene. I'm just gonna say that whatever we get, I don't care. It's placeholder for now.
Sure.
And then there's a way that you can convert.
Are you using ChatGPT 01 for this? I feel like that's it's not really what 01 is for.
Coffin top view.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm on 01.
I think you got to use 4. 01 is for like, more dramatic things than that.
Where's create? Oh, here it is, Dolly. No, it's funny because I actually ran out of all 04 at one point.
Really?
It was like, hey, you have 25 more things.
Oh man, really?
And I was like, man,
I never got that far.
I know, it's a lot of different prompts on it, and so it tells you, it's like, okay, if you use all 04, we're gonna throw you on the 1. That's what you get for free or whatever. Oh, sweet!
Nice.
That's cool.
There we go.
Like, I mean, honestly, that's way better than I expected it to be. I expected it to have zero Game Boy-ness to it. So, all right, here
it's sort of top-down Game Boy. It's kind of Zelda Game Boy at this point. But.
Yeah, I'm not expecting it to be. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open up a version of our map, and I have background sprites, and this is where it goes nice. So let's just say it's a small version of it. There is a small version of our scene. Excuse me, and I am going to import, or let's see here. Is there a place? Maybe I have to do it a different way. I think they have a place. Paste special. Is there not a paste in here? Or a place? I don't think there is. All right, so we're just going to open something up. We'll open up desktop. Open up our little scene here, which does not look actually pixelated.
No.
So here's what's cool about this, is if I were to take this, and I'm going to make it not a background, just convert it to a layer. Copy this. Go to dev small, and I'm going to add a new layer. Okay. Paste that on there. And then if you scale it down, it will actually pixelate it enough.
Yeah, it like tries its best.
Oh man.
I this far I feel like you have to zoom really far out.
Mm-hmm.
And then scale it.
One thing about this is you have to start scaling, and then you have to then hold the shift button.
Yeah.
It's like a weird.
Yeah. It's
okay.
Weird thing.
So let's just say this is our new level. Actually, that turned out pretty decent. Oh, you know what it did though? Is it cut off this little side? That's all right. I'm gonna go back one. Hold on a second.
Oh, because he didn't scale it far enough.
Yeah, I didn't scale far, or I scaled it too far. Yeah, I'm not far enough. Okay, so grab that. Look at it. That's probably decent. Or I did it too far. It's enough. It's enough for
Sure.
what we want to do. So I'm going to throw that right in.
Well, you can scale it up bigger now that you have it smaller.
That's true. I can. All right. I should be having the creator, the artist creator.
Oh, well,
do this.
and then, I feel like this is the whole thing within the colors and everything too is going to have to be different.
So what you can do here, yeah, because now it's actually in pixelated value at the right size. But I can go over here and with your sprite and your color mode, there is ways to do this. And I can't remember. It's been a minute since I did this. So you have these options where you can do some dithering on it and like actually give it kind of some Game Boy and get the right color values for it, which probably doesn't look great on some of that.
Well, the dithering is like how much like noise it
Right.
has of like.
There's another one though. There
I
was
mean,
like,
you changed it to pixel colors, right? Or Game Boy colors.
yeah. I guess it was. It was just. Shoot, forgot where I was even at. Color mode. Yeah, color mode. More options. Yeah. That changed it to the right colors with no dithering. Okay. So we got a vibe.
Something, yeah.
Okay. So we got a vibe. So I'm going to call this one, I will save it as, and this is it would be scene 1. So you can you're going to get to see the whole process of how I'm thinking of this. So I call it S1. So I know it's part of scene, stage 1. I originally thought we'd have a bunch of different stages. I think we're going to have most everything in stage 1, and I'll just call it funeral. Funeral, what would we say this is? It's like a cutscene. Is a cutscene the right thing?
Yeah.
So I like to call it cutscene funeral. Okay. So now saving the A-sprite file, and then I'm going to export the same file again. There's these numbers at the bottom that I use for some stuff that we're just going to leave on there for now. We won't have to worry about it. I mean, eventually in the game, we will take those out. And so we're going to put this in background. So we're S1 cutscene funeral. Cool. Got it done. All right. So next up, in this funeral scene, if we wanted to do like a slow pan or something over it, we can make it really long or tall or however that would look. But for the hell of it, now we have it. So we are going to add a scene, put that in there, and
like that was my idea, is having like sort of a long one, and then it would just sort of pan
to it
to the right or pan in, or I don't know exactly.
I mean, at least for this one, we kind of get
Totally.
a thing going. So now when you click, let's see here, you have a decision where you're saying, do you start the scene, or do you load development, or you just go right over to the start of the scene? So this is, I think, where we kick over to the start.
Okay.
So let me see. So this is where it goes start. So instead, we're going to go over here. So just for the hell of it, I just want to see, we'll just make sure that it does the stuff. We're going to have Roby probably show up, which isn't the right thing we want him to do on the funeral scene.
Right.
But just so you can kind of get the vibe of what's going to change this. And so maybe what we could do is we could make it the long scene and do a little bit of a pan in a minute here. Like, I think that might be something just to get kind of like a beat down of like, how is this going to work? We're going to pan this way or whatnot. So thing starts, adventure hits, we go here. How do we tell the story? Is it all visual? Is it things that crop up like text? Is it a text box that's popping up at the bottom?
I would say it's sort of maybe afterwards, or I don't know if you want to you could do it at the same time.
Like in between. So imagine this.
Yeah.
You're at the funeral scene and then it goes to black. Roby Decker was an amazing grandfather. Goes back to the scene. Somebody just walks into the scene and does their thing.
I can see that.
And like you kind of cut back and forth like it's super dramatic. So now we're on the scene there. So is there Roby here? Oh, I don't think we have a Roby. It's interesting. Okay, so with the 2D sound kind of thing, like if I put Roby on here, platformer.
You'll just be like at the very bottom, right?
Yeah, it's funny because I don't think hold on, let me check a setting here. So I don't think I have a default. So top down, we'll do Roby. It comes back to me. Originally, I was super scared
You're like,
about.
oh Christ, I forgot everything.
I'm gonna forgot everything, but it starts to come back to you. It's like riding a bike. You
Yeah.
get back into there, but there was a moment because the last time I had messed with the game since before I had gone and done that other thing was in October.
Right.
So it was a minute before I
Yeah.
did that. But what I want to make sure we do is like the amount of effort that it's taking to like get to this level of, okay, we got to put this in here. Now we got to cut this cut and this and this and this. I just don't want to keep doing it. I want to like get it pretty much roughed in and we're good. Like I don't want to have to recreate, drop a scene in, make all the next steps if at all possible, if that makes sense. All right, here we go. Skip that. The reason I did this is Roby's on there, okay? And the reason I put him on here is because I want to show you something. So I'm controlling him right now, right?
Uh-huh.
What if, and I'm going to just talk it through and so I don't have to do it and to do it, is you can have it to where you have no controls that work on him, okay? So you could say load the screen and then we can say, let's say it starts like this and Roby's right there. And then it cuts to black. And it says Roby, loved his grandfather. And then it cuts back to this. We can just animate him with program and he can go right here and go up to the thing.
Oh,
like he could just walk to it and you can't touch that and it does that. And then it cuts, maybe back and it's like, grandfather, I loved you so much.
So it's like an in-game cutscene.
An in-game cutscene.
Right.
And so that's what I wanted you to think about. Like, how can we use that? Because then we just are animating him.
Right. Walking around inside of there.
Walking to things. And so if I go into this,
It's like machinima at that point, right? Or you're kind of like taking in-game characters and moving them around to do a cutscene.
Because I think that ends up being more dramatic. Like that's the only way you'll get it to look as though he's walking. So in this case, if I'm here, when you get into the scene, so you got Roby in the scene. So on initiation, you can say move. Okay, I'll just actor. Let's try it. I just want to see if this actually works. Move actor. Okay, move to. And let's find a place to move him to. Let's say it's right by the grave.
Okay.
And so what it says is first you want to go left or right, and then you want to go up, is what this allows us to do. So with any luck, he will start and he'll move into the right location. Now the only thing I'm not seeing is the speed in which you do it, but let's try it. See if that works.
And so it just knows to. Does it just end the scene after the animation is done, or
it just stops on the last frame of it?
Okay.
And it just keeps it because it's so what we're essentially saying is you are now in this scene. Welcome to the scene, everyone. This is the background. This is what you get. And then you're like, what do you want to do? And so now we're saying when the scene initiates, now we want you to move the player to these coordinates, and then it just stops. So you got to kind of think about scene stacking, like what are actions stacking. So we get to this side of it. I don't know why it keeps going behind everything, but I'm just going to knock X out of it next time. All right, so we get here. Start. Let's see if this works.
Nice.
So
he would have his little walk cycle and all of that fun stuff.
Absolutely. And the thing that I would say is like he's in default mode right now. So let's do I have a different version of him? Roby. Let's see here. Do we have a Roby default?
And once he hits the end of that cycle of walking up to the thing, it could play an animation.
Yeah, we would
Okay.
say it would just stop, and you'd say pause for X amount of time, and then you can have him do his next
Right.
thing. I think Roby default is his walk cycle. So the problem that we just saw there is the speed. So you'd say like actor, I think it's speed, animation speed, movement speed. So he went really fast. We want
Yeah.
him to be like a lot smaller,
Right.
short. So we set the speed first, and then he's going to go at a different speed. So if we run this one, we should look better. I threw a different version of him on there, and so my hope is that it's going to look like he's walking in this case. So we can animate that version of him because we're platformer mode in our actual game, but we're doing top-down 2D mode in this
Right.
version.
Which is like, it's sort of weird with how he walks, right? Because
Yeah.
when he gets to the top, he sort of like floats up as
He kinda
opposed to
floats up.
turning.
So, but this is why I wanted to show you this, so
Yeah.
we can get to this point, because then I think this maybe changes your mind how we can do cutscenes, and if you can think that way. So he's a little.
Right. Yeah. And
Like,
then
that's cool. I mean, that's
totally.
the
And
way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then this could be a grave where it's like it could be opened and it could close.
right.
Like you could do anything with any of these characters. So we can probably have like three characters that are moving and a couple different items if you wanted to have things, doing stuff.
Like, I would imagine here, what I would want is the scene and the grave, like, or, the casket being lowered down into the grave.
Oh yeah.
Right. At some
Absolutely.
point. So that would just be an animation of that happening. And then, yeah, like maybe like Roby walking up to it or something like that. Right. Like he's sort of like, it could be even simpler than that. Cause I'm thinking it maybe not so top down, but still like in our kind of platformer version, like Roby sort of walks over to the side, does an animation and then walks back or something, or I don't know.
I think this is where it gets to be fun, and this is what I think makes it the adventure kind of animation fun style, is that we can invent a scene because you can move people to locations,
Right.
and you saw how
But I can't make him bigger, right? Because then you would have to redo the sprite so that
Bigger in
he's
what
not,
way?
like closer to the screen.
we would just have to recreate
You
a
would just have to
whole
do a
I see
whole-
what you're, like a zoomed in version,
Right, like you can't basically do a zoomed
No.
in version at that
you
point.
you could do it. It would be like not what we would want to do, I guess is what I'm saying. Like we would just the vibe of a Game Boy game is doing exactly what we do. Like here's the character size, he walks
Right.
across the screen and this is what it does.
Sure.
And so things that you can do is like see this diagonal, like it's so down in this code you have movement types. So I can say, hey, when this scene loads, I want you to move him to this point. And how do you want him to move? Well, in this case I said horizontal, so it's saying first do the horizontal move and then go to the next point.
Yeah.
If I say do it vertically or diagonally, it'll just be from here directly to there.
Yeah.
And so that could be different ways that you could have people walking in and doing some like dynamic kind of looks, but simplify yourself. Like what would be the interesting thing? So how would that be lowered in to the grave?
I would think that you would still have to turn maybe the angle down, because doesn't it look a little weird? It's almost like we're looking down at everyone else,
Right,
but
right.
then Roby is the side, so everything's a little tilted downward,
it's
like that.
isometric right now.
But then I imagine you have like crowds of people in the background, right? And the giant thing of like his statue behind it. And then there's this grave with all this beer and things like that, like all around it. And it's just like a cool drawing, basically. And then Roby comes up from the side, and he just sort of stands there for a second, and then maybe he like takes this thing out and like takes a drink out of his, thing, and then turns backwards or just stands there, and it just lowers down into the ground, right? Like that is the animation, and everything else is just sort of static or just sitting there.
So I think at this point, then, if you're going to do that, like maybe wireframe it out a little bit, draw a little bit of a scope out of what you're looking to do, because then I can do the
actual just like moving things around.
the moving things around. If we did a little animation, so in this case, I think we got it. So the speed is maybe slower. So let's say he's at that half speed. He walks to that location. He waits for 2 seconds, and then you're going to say like actor.
Like, what's the animation of him drinking?
That's what I was going to do. Like,
thing.
I was like, yeah, that would be the perfect thing.
Yeah.
So let me go and see.
Because I'd probably want it different than that, because that almost feels like his animation for drinking is like a excited in the moment thing, and I'd want Roby more like taking a little hit out of a flask,
A little
as opposed
chug
to pouring a beer from like 2 feet above his mouth into his mouth. Which is our like chug animation, basically.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, do I have?
Do you have that? Or like,
I-
what is that? Because doesn't he does that when he like earns something now in the game, right?
You can, but here's what's fun about it is that you know how in games when you could make it an interactive kind of animation, like he can move to that point and you just be sitting here like, what the hell? And then you just hit the B and then he chugs.
Yeah, right.
Like that's
And
all
then
it ever
and then
does.
adds,
It just hits
and
it.
Then it moves on with the cutscene.
It moves on with the cutscene. That could be like a cool,
That would be cool.
different way. And that's actually how it was right then. I'm curious. We'll have to see if this works. I think he's just going to be chugging a bunch of beers if I do it this way.
Constantly just running around chugging beers at this funeral. Hey, you know?
Yeah, it might. So what should happen, should this work, is he will now walk, stand there for just a couple seconds, and then chug.
Okay.
And like, perpetually chug.
Yeah.
In the hard part, I think that's going to be for you is like, I think you see the potential here, but it might be a lot of additional like animations back and forth
Right.
and other kind of like scenes that you're creating that you're going to have to.
Well, that's why you want to be like, okay, there's 2 little animations or something.
So this will happen first. Now we're in the wait. 2 seconds and then, I don't know if it's going to go. Apparently it's not.
Do you have to click a button?
I don't think so.
Okay.
'Cause I didn't have it on a button. It says set animation to chug. Default. Oh wait, hold on. It looks like it's missing something. Why did it says set? Hold on, let me just look. Oh, here it goes. So idle. You wait. His animation state is default, which we want him to do. Wait till the next frame. You do it to Roby chugging. Okay, here we go. Roby chug. And then he does the chug. And then you wait for a certain amount of frames. You go back to the default state. And you set it default. Yeah, it's a little intense. Like the ways. Okay, so this might work. I'm gonna try it one more time.
Default. Yeah, like.
I know it's 10:44, so this is good. But I think this is
Yeah.
fun. I'm glad we did this.
Totally. And I feel like we need like more sessions like this probably.
Yeah.
You know, where you just go step through it and then if this is a real thing, we'd be like, okay, bring up the Trello board. What needs built, right?
Yeah.
Okay, first thing needs built. We need like a scene with this, and we need this sort of, graphics. Adam could start working on the animations and putting it together.
So think about this
fun.
simply too, and I agree. Like, what if him putting going in the grave? There's the dramatic way, or what if it was just a side shot, like a cross section of the grave, and you see the coffin going in, and then off to the sides you have funny little like skeletons in there,
Right, like the dirt. You can
Yeah.
basically see the dirt.
So it's
through
just
it.
like a completely side thing.
view.
All
I
right.
mean, that's how the rest of the game is.
That's how we should do it.
Well, but I guess the rest of the game does have like a plane that you're on.
Oh, is he gonna do it? Come on, buddy, do the drink.
Ah,
I don't know. I think it's because we're in the wrong.
we're not in side scroller
Yeah,
or
we're
whatever.
not in side scroller. He should be chugging it though. 'Cause
He should be chugging,
So let's say he gets to this point.
and he's not like walking really either, right?
He
He's
isn't.
still sort of floating.
His animation state is default. Wait until next frame.
Because you could still move around at this point. That's cool.
Yeah, he can. I think it has to do, and we're gonna have to this is totally something we can change. Hold on, you know what I'm gonna try? Let me see if the B thing would work, where you have to hit a button and then he'll chug.
How long does it take to render out? Well, I guess it probably depends, but Game Boy this GB Studio versus Game Maker
to like the game itself.
To like be like, okay, I want to play the game real quick. To always feel like that's always hard, right? Like if it takes an hour to render it out and start playing it, then you're like, blah.
No, I think there's different ways that Game Maker would allow us to do things. Like I think you could play it within the platform sometimes.
Okay, that's cool.
This rendering thing has been a little bit more indifferent since I've done this. I've been trying to tune it to make it like a snappy, like spit this thing out.
Yeah.
But this little weight kind of sucks.
Well, weren't you? I mean, that's part of the update, right? Because wasn't it before that once you did it once, then you just made little things, then it would do it a lot faster. But you were saying that's not even happening anymore.
It is. This is still faster, but it's
Not
slower, faster. If that makes sense. I don't think it's gonna work. I'm just gonna say that I don't think it will, because I think we're in the wrong mode for it to work. So he can do his thing. Because I don't believe. I'm trying to think. Yeah, why would that not work? So regardless. Like there's something off that I don't want to troubleshoot live at the last like 10 minutes of the show. So let's say he moves to that point.
Yeah.
And so if you're watching this thing, let's block it out. What is the very first scene that he does? Is it this? Is it that he walks in and stands up but next to the grave? Is it like some like cutaway scene?
I mean, if you were going to make it dramatic, right, it would be just the grave for a little bit, right? And it would be like music playing and there would, a swirl of wind or something like that, right?
Okay.
And then you'd be like, and then at some point Roby would walk up, right? Like he would go, maybe he walks sort of sideways and comes into the thing and sort of stands next to the grave, and then you see, because you want to be able to absorb all the small like features of like, right, there's a big thing with like his picture and he's standing up there and he has the skull bobbin and like, what does that mean? And you need time to like absorb that kind of stuff. And then you'd be like, okay. And then he walks up and you'd be like, who the hell is that? Right. And then he walks up and he just sort of stands there and like looks at the grave and just stands there for a minute and then maybe takes the drink or whatever. And, in a full game, he would like do something, toss something in that you don't know, or pick something out of it or something that you wouldn't know about until later. But maybe for this, it's just like he just stands there and then the grave just like lowers into the ground with everybody else around there. And then it like fades back, or, and maybe like you were saying with the like certain parts are just fade away and then it would have our little wording in between. Right. And then it would fade back and then he would be standing there and then that's when it would lower down and then it would fade back again and do the wording. I don't know if you want to do it all like that, but
it sounds good. Like each of the wording phases, we'd have to say like, is it just another screen, or like I guess we'd have to figure out how that actually fully works. There was a game that I was thinking about, but I don't know if I can quickly find it, that had what you were just describing. And I was like, man, that would be really great to show how that would work. There was these like little guys at a funeral of like their friend, but it was like there were all these little animals and things like that. And then they would like kind of fade. But we didn't copy it completely. Let's see here.
I haven't seen it before, so how would I have copied it? I mean, we're very much living in tropes of
oh yeah, it is true.
I mean, come on. no one's done a funeral scene at the beginning of something.
Let me see.
You want to show this?
Yeah, before I do. Okay, I will show it. So this isn't probably what we're trying to create, but this is a Game Boy game. So like, see how they turn. I don't know if I'm supposed to be walking. Oh, I am walking around. So it just started with the dialogue. I like the little thing that popped out of its head though. That was kind of nice. See, I didn't make that happen. That person like walked in and said that.
Right.
So I was thinking like that could be how D comes in.
Yeah.
Like we could do this in game like that. They walked up, they said something.
And then like they come together and do the little kiss thing, right? And I feel like that's what D and Roby need to do at the beginning.
So all those people walking around and doing all that stuff, that was all like animation stuff. And so I think that's what we need to think about more in our game is like how can we make those moments happen? So he walks in the bar and then, well, we did that. I did it in the game when all right, I'm gonna do one quick thing. Oh man, it's not gonna be quick. Never mind.
Because I could see the beginning of this happening, right?
Right.
And then you're dumped into the front of what is considerably the back of the bar.
Yeah.
Right. No one's in there. It's blank. There's things to look at on the wall, right? That maybe you click on and maybe you don't. But you could just run to the other side. Then you're in the bar and it looks cooler and it's different. And then you go up and that's where you see D, right? Because you're like, oh, I just keep going right. But there's a giant bar now here. Oh, and the first other character. And then as soon as you see D, as soon as you get in there, then it triggers the cutscene of them coming together and them having the conversation back and forth, right? So you don't even trigger that as like a person going, yes, I want to talk to her and click on her and do all of that. It's just like, it's an in-game cutscene basically for that first mission.
It's like a cutscene, but then that turns into the actual scene. Like it doesn't have to be separate.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I think you just, as you're walking across and you get to the bar, right? Then it just goes up and it takes over your controller and then D walks over, right? And they go, and they talk and they do that whole little thing and there's the kiss or there's whatever. And then boom, and then it lets you go. And then now you have free control to like walk around it.
100%. So how that happens is that these hit boxes.
Yeah.
So how it would work is if you haven't done this yet with D, your hitbox will make the animation absolutely happen.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have a version of this that we did, and the only challenge that we'd have to do is I'd have to beat this stupid. It's not stupid. It's awesome, but I'd have to beat this whole bottom part.
In order to do it?
To get to because I did this in the game. I just don't know if you knew that I had done
totally.
that.
Yeah.
Like when you talk to AB,
yeah,
he pauses and does the whole thing.
Totally. Like so that feels like another thing where it's like we already sort of figured out how that works. So great.
Actually, I have a better idea. Check this out. All right. Oh, it's funny. I don't know why he was in that scene. I'm gonna.
Why he was in that menu?
I screwed something up in that menu that should not have happened. But
tiny little Roby shouldn't be inside of his little booklet.
He should not be in his booklet like that. That was a glitch there. So if I started the adventure, and I go to him over here, what I should be able to do. Let's see here, debugger, build options. Let's see here. Oh man, where is it? It used to show me. Okay, build. There's the build. There's the start debugger. Here we go. Let's see if this works. I might have to recreate it. Oh, it's building itself right now. So what's neat is because I didn't typically have to go and run the game itself and like get all the way to this point, that was a pain in the ass. Because if you were like, oh my God, now I got to test that thing in the game.
Right, way at the end.
At the very end, you're like, that's like 20 minutes into the
yeah.
game. And so what it has is, and what it's building right now, is it's taking the entire game and it gives you this opportunity to build a debugger into it. And so what it does is like, here's all the variables that you've had currently at this point in the game. So now we can do this. So if I say I start the game, and I'm going to go and talk to AB right now. If I go over and talk to him, over on this left-hand side, you're going to see that there's all these different variables.
Okay.
And so then I can go to interact. Let's see here. Interact museum door. Can't even remember what I called it at this point. I have to look for it. Let's see here. I think I called it AB. Interact with AB. So let's just increment it to 1. I think it's 1. Okay. So I talk with him now. Okay. So interact with him 2.
And this is updating in real time
inside of the game. Okay. It's not interact then. But yeah, so you're able to like adjust things in the game. So here, I'll give you an example. So if I exit out of this in the game, see where my health is right now? And over here with player health, if I hit up, I don't even know if I have I'd have to refresh. That's why. So I put my player health to 8 up there. Okay. If I come in, see how I came in and out that door, and it's more.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a refresh on there. That's why it took it. So if I go to 10, I go back into the game.
Now they're all full.
Could be all full up. Oh, and see how interact with him is done. So he's gone now, because I put his interact to 2. So let me do this. Let me put it back to 1. And so I'm gonna come back out here, come back in. I guess he's not there anymore. So
he disappeared.
I'd have to remember like what if it was interact or talk or what it might be. So he's in there now.
And I remember before you were saying that part of this you'd have to like completely redo from the beginning. Is that what you're still thinking?
I mean, yeah, all these little things that I just had set up. So here it is, interact with D. Once you interact with it, okay, the first time you interact, she goes, do this. Second time she says, go get the rat. I think it's third time. Okay. So let's see if this works. I mean, let me go in and out the door first. Interact with her. Okay.
Yeah.
Can't remember. We got a
spam.
I
imagine.
Gotta love the spam. I'm not gonna figure this out tonight. But what's cool, and what I guess my point of what I was trying to create on this side is that if we start getting this all squared away, you can in real time change a variable to test a part of your game, so you don't have to play through all the different pieces of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because right now, where it's like all the stuff that we're testing is pretty close to the beginning, but at some point it's not going to be.
Right. And I think in this case, I probably have a compounded.
And does this mess up something? Like once you restart the game, it just resets it to all of the right variables, right? So that
this is just like affecting this
like your little instance of this.
Yeah. So I Dvork. All right. I can't remember what does it. So I could probably go in the game and say, hey, when I talk to him, actually, that's probably a good question. Let me just try that real quick, because we're at time. We're at a minute, but let's see if we could do it. So if I click on him, the first state, he's walking back and forth. AB hidden. Let's see here. Comments on initial. Okay, it's on interact. It's got to be on interact. See, interact with him. Says it's a local variable is 0. So you exit. And then if it's say interact with Roby is 1 and interact with D is 1. He does that. So okay, interact with D, interact with Roby. Oh god, did I close it? Shit, I closed it. I'm gonna have to rebuild it. All right, so we're done. We're done with that one. But you get the point.
Yeah.
And I'm excited.
That's good. I feel like next step, I feel like I could design up a little funeral scene, image, and we could sort of start building the first cutscene.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's the next thing. Like long, high, whatever you want to do, just keep within the things. Come up with a funeral scene. Mm-hmm. I'll figure out the animations and make sure that they can all kick off in the right amount of thing. So the question I'm having for you: should we have it to where you click through it? Like you have to hit a button,
have to enter things,
kind of like a interactive cutscene, or do you think it should
press
just run?
A to drink? Is that kind of the
the
basically there, right?
Like what if he just does the thing?
Totally.
Because all you have to do is hit one button.
I feel like people would be like, "Come on, like keep going," and then he would just do the drink, and then it would trigger the rest of the cutscene. I guess at that point,
I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that's when the grave or the casket lowers. I don't know if you could like trigger it all like that. But
yeah, you absolutely could. Like once you hit the B part,
then
you could be that,
right? Then do the animation.
You could even have it to where he's on rails, to where like you have to make him turn around. Then when he gets to a point, it just now you're off again, and then he turns around.
Maybe later. Maybe like the first one needs to be
pulls a
like
lever.
Yeah, right. Lowers it. I feel like let's try to keep the first one, simple.
Cool.
But.
Hey, thanks for hanging out. 1 minute
Yeah.
past 11.
Woo.
You're awesome. We'll see you next time
Thank
on
you.
the Adam and
Thanks
Ryan
for
Show.
hanging out.
Thanks. Peace out.
Good night.